Chapter 876. Haha, if that's the case, wouldn't it be tiring to live? Wang Kai couldn't help but laugh out loud. He turned to look at her and nodded with a smile. You are very similar to one of Ben Xiao's maids. She also thinks that a strong person should have the temperament of a strong person. Unfortunately, Ben Xiao is used to being carefree. He just wants to follow his heart and walk the universe. Whoever disagrees with him will be defeated. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have gained 10 million experience points and 10,000 bragging points. As soon as these words came out, Senior Sister Qing was a little dazed. She didn't know why, but at first she clearly didn't like Wang Kai's character. But now she suddenly felt an inexplicable fondness for him. Bastard! How could I have a good impression of him? It must be an illusion. An illusion. Senior Sister Qing shook her head and erased the thought that had suddenly appeared in the depths of her heart. What they didn't know was that Wang Kai didn't take the ordinary path and was so casual. Such a rebellious cultivator was very rare in the Qing Yin starry sky. Or rather, it was impossible to find someone like him. It was precisely because of this that Senior Sister Qing had an inexplicable good impression of Wang Kai. However, she, who pursued the perfect man, was unwilling to admit it. Vanishing shadow. Buzz. Suddenly, before Senior Sister Qing could react, Wang Kai came in front of her. He turned his hand down and grasped her shadow in his hand. It was as if he was holding a rope, which made the shadow abstract. What are you doing? What kind of sorcery is this? Stop it. Senior Sister Qing, who came to her senses, saw Wang Kai holding her shadow. She was so scared that her face turned pale and her heart pounded. She swore that she had never seen anyone who could hold someone's shadow in his hand. Sorcery? Bullshit, this is a killing skill. Dance for Ben Xiao first. Wang Kai shrugged and said with a calm smile. Buzz. As soon as Wang Kai finished speaking, his words seemed to have a magical power that caused Senior Sister Qing's eyes to go blank, and she started to dance on the spot. This scene also caused Wang Kai to be greatly surprised. He did not expect the vanishing shadow function to be so useful. The Dragon Brothers, Tiger Brothers, and the rest were also stunned. For a moment, they did not know what had happened. I wonder what will happen if I completely break her shadow? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and asked curiously. Host, if you tear off the target's shadow, the target can only live in darkness. If the target is exposed to sunlight, the target will disappear completely. Just as Wang Kai was about to break Senior Sister Qing's shadow, a system notification sounded. What? Upon hearing this, Wang Kai swallowed his saliva in fright. His hand couldn't help but tremble, causing Senior Sister Qing's shadow to shrink back. You bastard. You're despicable. Senior Sister Qing, whose shadow had been released, was naturally clear about what had just happened. She immediately glared fiercely at Wang Kai, raised her jade-like hand, and pointed at him as she scolded him, especially since she was disguised as a man. At this moment, her face was as red as an apple. She looked very elegant. Now you know how powerful Ben Xiao is, right? Once this killing technique is used, no matter who it is, they are destined to live under Ben Xiao's control. Next time, be more obedient. Otherwise, Ben Xiao will make you do a striptease. Wang Kai curled his lips and smiled proudly. You, Senior Sister Qing's silver teeth tightly bit her red lips. Her beautiful eyes flickered, but she did not dare to say anything more. She was afraid that Wang Kai would really do that. Young Master Kai, what kind of technique is this? Can you teach us brothers? That's right, young Master Kai. With such a technique, us brothers would rather not have this immortal body. The Longhu brothers swallowed their saliva and said eagerly, there was no need to attack at all. They only needed to approach the opponent and capture their shadow. Who wouldn't want such a simple and convenient technique? Who would have thought that there was a technique in the world that could capture and control one's shadow? No one had thought of it, and no one knew about it. It meant that the success rate of using it when the opponent was least expecting it was too high. It was an excellent technique for killing and robbing. It was the perfect technique for sneak attacks. This technique is not suitable for you. Wang Kai shrugged and said with an indifferent expression, He couldn't help but laugh in his heart. These two really dared to learn anything. With an immortal body and a technique that could ignore the opponent's cultivation, they really were invincible. Unfortunately, no one could use the system's functions except for Wang Kai. It's suitable. With this technique, we brothers don't have to pay when we go to brothels to find chicks. Bullsh asterisk T. With such a powerful technique, do you still need to go to brothels? We could just go to the main cities of the other domains and find the prettiest girls. That's right. The wife of the unbreakable domain's domain ruler is very pretty and charming. If we can have fun with her for a night, TSK. As they spoke, the dragon and tiger brothers began to fantasize. Even their saliva was dripping from their mouths. The more they thought about it, the more they desired it. Young Master Kai, please teach us. That's right, we brothers will loyally support young Master Kai, even if we have to climb a mountain of swords or plunge into a sea of flames. Bang! Bang! With that, the Longhu brothers knelt on the ground. It was obvious how much they desired to learn the vanishing shadow killing art. You mentioned that the wife of the domain ruler is very pretty. However, Wang Kai did not waste his time talking about the vanishing shadow killing art. He was quite interested in the wife of the domain ruler of the unbreakable domain. In Wang Kai's opinion, fame and beautiful women were the only things that mattered in the world. Wang Kai did not really care about fame and fortune. However, Wang Kai had always been fond of beautiful women. Very pretty. She is the most beautiful woman we have ever seen. That's right. Her beauty is indescribable. Calling her the most beautiful woman in the unbreakable domain is belittling her beauty, the Longhu brothers said eagerly. As they spoke, their eyes shone with a green light. Is she really that beautiful? Is she prettier than her? Wang Kai raised his eyebrows and pointed at senior sister Qing. The corners of the dragon and tiger brothers' mouths twitched. How were they supposed to answer such a direct question? Wouldn't they be causing trouble for themselves? Even if they did not die, it would be unbearable to be humiliated by her, right? Both are beautiful. Both are beautiful, the Longhu brothers said with a smile. However, the answer they gave was something that everyone present could hear, and they could also tell. Their true meaning was that the wife of the domain ruler of the unbreakable domain was prettier. Shameless. Senior sister Qing's beautiful eyes narrowed. Her tone was cold as she rebuked them with extreme disgust. No one noticed that a look of dissatisfaction flashed across her eyes. Chapter 877. If you want to scold someone, you should be scolding them. Why are you scolding Ben Shao? Besides, Ben Shao is not only shameless, but also obscene. If you have any other intentions, Ben Shao will send you to heaven right now. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and snorted with displeasure. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Hearing the notification, Wang Kai's mouth twitched violently. Since when did the system recognize shamelessness and obscenity as bragging? It seems that the system is about to enter the update period. Is there a problem? Wang Kai snorted unhappily with a dark face. Little did he know that the system thought that calling Wang Kai shameless and obscene was a compliment. Ancient Sword City. It was an ancient city that was designed in the shape of a giant sword. Even from far away, one could feel the sword intent from the city. Although it wasn't strong, it was very obvious. What made Wang Kai's eyes light up were the countless swords floating above the city. They looked like divine punishment that could fall at any time. Welcome back, young master. Welcome back, young Master Wang. Just as Wang Kai and the rest approached the city gate, a series of respectful voices were slowly transmitted over. Are they from your Zhuofang family? Wang Kai raised his eyebrows and smiled faintly. Many cultivators were gathered in front of the city gate. They were all dressed the same, and each of them had a long sword at their waist. That's right, they're the cultivators from the Ni Sword Mansion. Young Master Kai, please. Zhuofang Shenu gestured respectfully. After all, everyone present knew that the Ni Jian Mansion was nothing in Wang Kai's eyes. Your Ni Sword Mansion is well informed. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled faintly. When they arrived at ancient Sword City, there were already people waiting to welcome them. They even called out their names. It could be seen that the Ni Sword Mansion was well aware of what had happened in the 100-Flower Valley and what they had experienced along the way. Although the Ni Sword Mansion was aware of their whereabouts, they wouldn't pose any threat. However, the fact that he was being monitored still reminded Wang Kai. Even the second strongest power in ancient Sword City knew his whereabouts like the back of his hand. Then, what about Elder Tianji? Also, what about the Misty House that he had just defended? Did he know about it as well? Moreover, he knew even more clearly. If I want to completely eliminate the danger of being monitored, I'm afraid I can only choose to act alone. Unfortunately, Ben Xiao has never liked to walk alone. Forget it. Let whoever wants to monitor him. Wang Kai shook his head and sighed secretly. Haha, young Master Wang of the Domain Main City has graced ancient Sword City with your presence. Your presence brings light to ancient Sword City. Our Ni Jian Mansion is fortunate enough to be acquainted with young Master Wang. The leader was a middle-aged man in a golden robe. He stepped forward and bowed respectfully to Wang Kai. This man was the current mansion master of the Ni Jian Mansion, Zhuo Fangyi. He was also Zhuo Fangxinyi's father. After Zhuo Fangyi's greeting, the other Ni Jian Mansion practitioners behind him also bowed and cupped their fists solemnly. Everyone's respect had reached a point where it couldn't be any higher. It was as if Wang Kai was a god. This scene made Wang Kai shake his head and laugh. He secretly thought that the Wang family of the Domain Main City was indeed powerful. It even affected a remote place like ancient Sword City. Haha, of course. Ben Xiao is the most honorable person in the unbroken domain. Oh no, in the entire Sky Domain. Even the ruler of the Sky Domain has to bow his head respectfully when he sees Ben Xiao. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled indifferently. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have gained 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Upon hearing this, Zhuo Fangyi's face stiffened like a zombie. He stood there in a daze, not knowing how to respond. The many practitioners of the Ni Sword Mansion behind him were also dumbfounded. They had never imagined that the young master of the Wang family of the Domain Main City would be so arrogant. He was so arrogant that he did not even put the ruler of the Sky Domain in his eyes. Ha ha ha. However, in the eyes of some female practitioners of the Ni Sword Mansion, they covered their faces and snickered. They didn't think as much as Zhuo Fang and the others. They all thought that Wang Kai was joking and bragging. Young Master Wang, we are from the Tsang family, the #1 faction in ancient Sword City. It is an honor to meet you today. Suddenly, a loud laugh came out from the city. Then, many cultivators came out to greet them respectfully. The Tsang family? Upon hearing this, Wang Kai raised his eyebrows slightly. He could not help but look at the people from the Zhuo family. Seeing their ugly expressions, he could not help rubbing his nose and laughing inwardly. They purposely emphasize that they are the #1 faction in front of Ben Xiao. They probably want to embarrass the Zhuo family. This is interesting. Song Yun, you are smart enough to take the initiative to welcome young Master Wang. Zhuo Fangyi said with a cold smile. Many people from the Ni Jian Mansion were also hostile to the newcomers. For many years, they had been suppressed by the Tsang family. Naturally, the people from the Ni Jian Mansion could not catch their breath. Whenever they met, they would mock each other. Although the Ni Jian Mansion was the #2 faction, it was not much weaker than the #1 faction, the Tsang family. Even if they fought, the Zhuo family would lose, and the Tsang family would not gain anything. Presumptuous. Isn't this all your fault? Why didn't you inform me that young Master Wang was coming to ancient Sword City? If we neglect young Master Wang, can your small #2 faction bear the consequences? The leader of the group from the Tsang family was also a middle-aged man. However, his figure was very tall and sturdy. From his appearance, he seemed to be the type that was extremely valiant and fierce. TSK. If the Zhuo family cannot bear the consequences, can your Tsang family bear the consequences? Wang Kai said casually with his hands behind his back. Swoosh! As soon as these words were spoken, the expressions of Tsang Yun and the others changed. Their originally beaming faces and arrogant expressions had turned livid and unsightly to the extreme. Initially, they had successfully humiliated the Zhui Fong family. Unexpectedly, Wang Kai's words made them lose everything. Even the Tsang family was humiliated to the point of no return. There was no need to use vulgarities to humiliate people. Young Master Kai, that old man, is the family head of the Tsang family. He is a shameless old bastard. Let's not talk about the number of wives he has. Just the number of concubines and mistresses he keeps outside is more than 1,000. Zhuo Fangshun said with a grin. He did not lower his voice at all. Instead, he deliberately raised his voice. Sure enough, as soon as his voice fell, the people from the Tsang family all had faces full of anger, while the Zhuo Fang family was extremely straightforward. Chapter 878. Whoosh. Such a scene caused everyone's expression to change slightly. Wasn't this the same as openly challenging the heavenly god sect? The sky god sect will not let this matter rest. The young man's face was ashen. Under the pressure, his knees had already shattered. However, he did not cry out. Instead, he stared at Wang Kai with a twisted expression and sneered. Senior Brother Yi. The four young men and women were extremely worried. At the same time, they were secretly terrified that Wang Kai would dare to do such a thing. Senior Brother Yi? TSK. Your Senior Brother Yi is really bold. He can also endure. Not bad. Wang Kai said with a faint smile with his hands behind his back. Even after suffering such intense pain, he could endure it and did not cry out. He did not have any fear towards Yi Shiwen and even dare to threaten Yi Shiwen. One had to admit that this young man with the surname Yi was quite capable. However, Wang Kai's praise made them even angrier. They thought that Wang Kai was insulting and making fun of the young man with the surname Yi. Senior Brother Yi is the chief inner disciple of the Sky God sect. This time, he came to Ancient Sword City under the orders of the Sky God sect's elder. If you stop now, we will think that you don't know our identities and will give you a lighter punishment. A beautiful woman stepped forward and said coquettishly. In response, the other young men nodded their heads in succession. Hee, I believe that under the shadow of the Sky God sect, you will know what to do. The young man with the surname Yi sneered with a twisted expression. Is there something wrong with your brains? Wang Kai raised his eyebrows slightly and looked at them with a mocking expression. Whoosh! Hearing this, the young man with the surname Yi's pupils shrank and a cold light flickered in his eyes. What do you mean by that? The beautiful woman pursed her red lips and asked. Buzz! Bang! Abruptly, Wang Kai took out the ancient halberd from his waist and stabbed it into the ground. He then spoke. Since Ben Shao dared to beat him up, it proves that a mere heavenly deity sect isn't worthy of my attention. But if you want to leave here safely, Ben Shao understands your desire to live. Hence, come into contact with this halberd. If you can survive, leave. If he could survive, he would leave. Hearing these words, the young men and women all frowned. They looked at each other before finally looking at the young man with the surname Yi. As for the halberd, they didn't even look at it. Among them, the young man with the surname Yi was the strongest. As for how powerful the ancient halberd was, none of them had the confidence to determine it. As such, whether he lived or died was entirely up to the young man surnamed Yi. The young man's face was ashen. Although he hated Wang Kai, he had no choice but to do as he was told. This halberd only needs to be touched once. The young man with the surname Yi stared at the ancient halberd, but he couldn't sense any aura from it. It looked no different from an ordinary halberd. But because of this, it proved that this halberd was extraordinary. If it had a grade, it would be easier to detect the strength of its aura. But since it couldn't be detected, it made the young man feel uneasy. Of course, Wang Kai said, his eyes narrowed. I'm a man of my word. If you can survive, I'll let you go. I'll also give you a chance to make your own choice. A playful smile appeared on Wang Kai's face. What chance to choose? The young man with the surname Yi asked in a deep voice. First, let the four of them take turns to touch the halberd. Second, you can touch it alone. Wang Kai smiled with his hands behind his back. Swoosh. Hearing these words, the young man with the surname Ye's face darkened. The young man behind him naturally understood what Wang Kai meant. Not only did he want to take their lives, he also wanted to break the trust between them. It was simply abominable, but they had no way to deal with it. They could only agree. Who has the right to choose? The young man with the surname, Yi said coldly. Oh. Wang Kai raised his eyebrows slightly and looked at the young man with a surprised gaze. He roughly knew the young man's choice and nodded with a smile. Naturally, it's in your hands. Choose. Do you want to take responsibility and touch the halberd, or do you want them to take turns to touch it? Junior brothers and sisters, if you all go up and touch the halberd, if nothing happens when we return to the Divine Sky sect in the future, I'll definitely reward you. If you're injured, I'll definitely ask the Divine Sky sect to treat you. If you die, I'll naturally ask the Divine Sky sect to bury you properly. Your family will also be treated well. The young man with the surname Yi said in a deep voice. Swoosh. After his words, the four young men and women's expressions changed. Even though they knew Wang Kai's goal, they couldn't help but feel disappointed in the young man with the surname Yi. From a young man with the surname Ye's choice, they could guess that the halberd was definitely not simple. Otherwise, why would he, who was the strongest, allow others to touch it? Have you made your choice? Wang Kai asked indifferently with his hands behind his back. Yes, they will touch the halberd. The young man with the surname Yi replied in a deep voice. Buzz. After receiving the answer, Wang Kai wasn't surprised at all. With a wave of his hand, the halberd was swept in front of the four young men and women. He laughed softly and said, Your senior brother Yi is telling you all to go and die. Swoosh. After hearing these words, the four young men and women's expressions became increasingly ugly. The fear and despair in their hearts also became increasingly intense. This isn't fair. Yes, it's not fair. Suddenly, the four young men and women clenched their teeth and shouted. Their eyes flickered with the desire to live and the unwillingness to die. Not fair? What do you mean? Wang Kai shrugged and pretended to be ignorant as he asked. Why is he the only one who can choose? We also have to choose. That's right. We choose to let him touch the halberd and die here. Yes, let him die. Damn you, Yulon. We respected and supported you in vain. Yet you treat us like this. Quickly repay our efforts and go and die. The four young men and women's faces were dark and cold. Their eyes were filled with killing intent as they sternly berated. Bastard, don't forget that I am the chief inner disciple of the Divine Sky sect. After completing this mission, I will definitely become a core disciple when I return to the Divine Sky sect. How can you compare to my status? Furthermore, even if I die and you all live, do you think that the Divine Sky sect won't punish you? The young man with the surname Yi furiously roared. When the time comes, we only need to say that you died for us. That's right. Therefore, go and die. However, the answer he received only made the young man with the surname Yi even more furious. His hatred for Wang Kai also became increasingly severe. This scene landed in the eyes of the crowd. At the same time that they lamented the lack of trust between them, they also secretly feared Wang Kai. Such methods were truly vicious to the extreme. Sometimes one didn't even need to kill to cause despair and even mental collapse. Chapter 879. After staying in Ancient Sword City for 3 days, Wang Kai, who had always been carefree, finally could not bear it any longer. There were too few places to have fun in this city. Even the brothels and casinos were nowhere to be found. If it were not for the fact that he wanted to take this opportunity to collect information about the unbreakable territory and the entire sky domain, Wang Kai would have left long ago. In the Ni Sword Mansion, in the mansion hall, seeing that Wang Kai was about to leave, the people of the Zhuofang family were secretly overjoyed. Although they had only known each other for 3 days, Wang Kai was really hard to serve. They had changed many beautiful maids, and even found a young lady from a big family in the city to be his maid. But in the end, he did not take a fancy to her. Moreover, The number of disciples of the Zhuofang family who had been dealt with by Wang Kai was not small. What they didn't know was that Wang Kai was just killing time for the sake of collecting information for a bit of fun. Otherwise, wouldn't it be boring to death to look at the maps of the Sky Domain and the secret histories of various domains for 3 whole days? I haven't been bragging for 3 days. Such a loss is worth it for me to obtain information about the Qingyun starry sky. Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders and secretly smiled. Young Master Kai, don't be anxious. It won't be too late for us to leave after my father brings a supreme treasure. Seeing that Wang Kai was absent-minded, Zhuofang Shinu thought that he was a little impatient. In order to prevent him from getting angry, he hurried forward to explain. Hearing this, Wang Kai grinned and casually glanced at him. In these 3 days, the number of times he had dealt with Zhuofang Shinu was uncountable. But now, he had become more well-behaved. What treasure is your father going to give to Ben Shao? Ben Shao does not care for ordinary things. Or rather, there is nothing in the Sky Domain that Ben Shao is interested in. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled indifferently. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Hearing this, Zhuofang Shinu was a little stunned. He was also very curious in his heart. What exactly did father want to give to Wang Kai? Didn't it occur to him that young Master Kai Bao's standards were very high? For a moment, Zhuofang Shinu started to worry. The Zhuofang family had just unified the ancient sword city and became the #1 power. If they made Wang Kai unhappy before he left, wouldn't they be beaten back to their original state? With Wang Kai's temper, there was no telling what would happen. Little did he know that Wang Kai would never do such a thing. Zhuofang Shinu had such thoughts because he had been taught a lesson in the past 3 days. It should be a very powerful treasure. Zhuofang Shinu coughed and said without confidence. A very powerful treasure? Wang Kai raised his eyebrows slightly when he heard this. He couldn't help but rub his nose and smile curiously. Then Ben Shao is looking forward to it. However, Wang Kai's words caused Zhuofang Shinu's head to jump in anger. He originally didn't have confidence in his father's treasure, but now he was looking forward to it. If he really took out a treasure that Wang Kai didn't fancy, wouldn't it be, thinking of this, Zhuofang Shinu was so angry that he wanted to give himself a few slaps. Could it be the 9 palace plate that Shenluo left behind? Senior Sister Qing, who was sitting opposite Wang Kai, suddenly frowned and asked, 9 palace plate? The treasure that Shenluo left behind? Hearing this, Wang Kai's eyebrows immediately twisted, and traces of surprise surfaced in his eyes. Although he didn't think much of Shenluo, his deeds were very interesting. The 9 great Daos that he wanted to collect this time were all created by him. What is the 9 palace plate? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and asked. The 9 palace plate is Shenluo's #1 treasure. It can be used for both offense and defense, and there's a world inside it. Moreover, it is different from the ability to open up a world. It is said that in the world of the 9 palace plate, it can suppress the cultivation of any cultivator and turn them into an ordinary person who will never die of old age. Senior Sister Qing said faintly, It's that powerful. Wang Kai was in high spirits when he heard this. He didn't expect Shenluo to have such a treasure. It allowed the person who entered to live forever. So what if they lost their cultivation? It should be known that even the strongest sovereigns of the Sky region would die of old age one day. After all, no one knew whether the realm of immortality existed in this universe. In short, the sovereigns hadn't reached the stage of immortality. Naturally, before Shenluo mysteriously disappeared, he left behind the treasure, the 9 palace plate, as well as the 9 ultimate Daos. Now, all of them have been collected by the 9 domains. Only the remnant of the Way of Karma has yet to be found. I heard that it is in the starry sky of the Yellow region. The forces of the Karma region and other forces have also sent experts to verify it, Senior Sister Qing said softly. As soon as she finished speaking, she couldn't help but blink her beautiful eyes and glanced at Wang Kai with disdain. She thought to herself that he was indeed bragging before. He even said that he was Shenluo. It was all a lie. If he was really Shenluo, why didn't he know about this? She didn't know that Wang Kai didn't care about being exposed at all. From the beginning to the end, he was just bragging to vent his anger. There is still a remnant of the way of karma in the karma region that has yet to be found. In the starry sky of the yellow region, all the 9 domains have sent people to look for it. Hearing this, Wang Kai's mouth twitched slightly. He roughly understood that the person who saved poison god Guangxian in the starry sky of the yellow region should be a cultivator from one of the 9 domains. The remnant of the way of karma must be the one that the suffering Buddha had cultivated. Unfortunately, because of the death of the suffering Buddha, the remnant of the way of karma had automatically disappeared to find the next suitable host. Now, even Wang Kai didn't know where it had gone. Young Master Kai, sorry to keep you waiting. Following the sound of laughter, the person on the left quickly walked into the hall with a tray in his hand. Is it the 9 palace plate? Seeing this, Wang Kai raised his eyebrows. Looking at the tray, which was covered with a red cloth, he was speechless. How did you know, young Master Kai? Hearing this, Zhuo Fong was stunned. He was even dumbfounded. It's really the 9 palace plate? Bang! Suddenly, senior sister Qing exclaimed. At first, it was just a guess. She didn't expect that the 9 palace plate was really in the Zhuo Fong family. Ahem, no, it's just one of the pieces of a 9 palace plate. Zhuo Fong smiled awkwardly. One of the pieces? Wang Kai was stunned. He asked puzzledly, isn't the 9 palace plate a treasure? Why is it divided into several pieces? It seems that the rumors are true. It's a pity that the divine sect found the wrong place. They actually thought that the remnant of the 9 palace plate was in the Tsong family. They didn't expect it to be in the Zhuo Fong family that they wanted to destroy. Senior sister Qing shook her head slightly and smiled disdainfully. Chapter 880. Yilan of the Divine Sky Sect came to Ancient Sword City to obtain the 9 palace plate. Wang Kai had guessed that they must have come for a reason, but he did not expect it to be for the 9 palace plate. Let's not talk about that for now. How many pieces of the 9 palace plate are there? Wang Kai frowned and said impatiently, there are naturally 9 pieces of the 9 palace plate. Senior sister Qing said with a disdainful smile. Wang Kai's face darkened when he heard that. He was secretly disdainful of Shenluo. The 9 great paths that he created were divided into countless pieces. Now, the 9 palace plate was divided into 9 pieces. What kind of narrow-minded person was this? He was clearly not here, but the treasures he left behind were divided into pieces so that no one could have them. This plate should have been in the hands of the Unbreakable Region Master. However, a long time ago, the Unbreakable Region Master's ancestor came to Ancient Sword City and fought with the Unbreakable Region Master. He accidentally left the 9 palace plate here. The Unbreakable Region Master was severely injured at that time, so he did not notice it, Zhuo Fong said. The Unbreakable Region Master's ancestor, who was even older, lost one of the 9 palace plates because he fought with the other region masters? Wang Kai rubbed his nose when he heard that. Isn't this too strange? Such an important treasure. Even if he died, he could not just throw it away like that. There are also rumors that the 9 palace plate was not left behind by the Unbreakable Region Master unintentionally, but he intentionally left it here. As for why, no one knows, Senior Sister Qing said faintly. Intentionally left it in Ancient Sword City. Wang Kai's eyes narrowed slightly. He was truly not interested in such complicated matters. Immediately, he flipped his hand and summoned the tray over. After lifting the red cloth, he saw a green tortoise shell on the tray. The tortoise shell was the size of a palm, and there were dense and complicated words on it. They looked like curses. A tortoise's shell is a supreme treasure. Wang Kai grinned, looking rather speechless. At first, he thought it was really a treasure, but he didn't expect it to be a tortoise shell fragment. If you have the ability, you could try to open the world inside the tortoise shell. Rumor has it that the people imprisoned inside were all top experts from the same era as Shenluo. If we can subdue them, it will be even more important than the 9 palaces plate. Senior Sister Qing said softly. Upon hearing this, Wang Kai's pupils constricted slightly. In that case, was the nine-palace plate the real treasure, or was it imprisoning the peerless powerhouse? How do I activate it? Wang Kai asked curiously. I don't know. We don't know either. Upon hearing Wang Kai's question, Senior Sister Qing, Zui Fangyi, and the others all shook their heads in confusion. Is there a space inside? Wang Kai had no choice but to secretly communicate with the system. Wasn't it stupid to not use such a simple cheating device and rack his brains to think about it? Host, there is indeed a space inside. If you want to enter it, you will need to spend 200,000 bragging points. 200,000 bragging points. So much. Upon hearing the prompt, Wang Kai immediately frowned. Host, Wang Kai profession, Star Warrior Realm, 8th grade Star God title, unparalleled bragging skills, shaking heaven and earth star technique, Karma Great Tao technique star technique, 5 thunder sky covering palm, yin and yang, thunder and fire, star trampling identification, torch dragon eyes ultimate shadow, level 1 equipment, heavenly halberd star power, level 9 star source points, 3, 700 physique, invulnerable guardian beast, none bragging points, 550000 experience, 3000000 4000000. However, after taking a look at the bragging points he had now, Wang Kai didn't care anymore. Even though he had spent 200,000 bragging points, he would still have 350,000 bragging points left. It's just 200,000 bragging points. To Ben Xiao, it's just like bragging points. I can easily get it back in an instant. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled calmly. Congratulations, host, for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Congratulations, host, for successfully breaking through and reaching 9th grade Star God. Congratulations, host, for successfully breaking through and gaining 100 star source points. Host, Wang Kai profession, Star Warrior Realm, 9th grade Star God title, unparalleled bragging skills, shaking heaven and earth star technique, Karma Tao technique star technique, none identification, torch dragon eyes ultimate shadow, level 1 equipment, heavenly halberd star power, level 9 star source points, 3, 800 bragging points, 560000 experience, 05000000. As the notification sounded, Wang Kai raised his brows slightly as he looked at the page that appeared in his mind. Guardian Beast, Constitution, and Star Technique have all disappeared. My experience has increased by another 10 million. Wang Kai squinted and thought to himself. Now that he was getting closer to the Dominator realm, the system update period was also getting closer. If I can really get the help of the powerhouses in the 9 Palaces plate, I won't be afraid of the update period. The top powerhouses of the same era as Shunluo must be terrifying. With that thought, Wang Kai squinted and secretly urged his thoughts. Send Ben Xiao into the tortoise shell. Congratulations, host, for successfully entering the 9 Palaces plate. A total of 200,000 bragging points have been spent. Buzz. As the notification disappeared, Wang Kai's figure turned into a wisp of white mist and floated into the tortoise shell, while everyone watched in disbelief. At the same time, the tortoise shell also broke into the void and disappeared. He actually went in. Everyone turned pale with fright when they saw this. In particular, Senior Sister Qing's beautiful eyes widened with splendor. Even her breathing became a little rapid. They did not expect Wang Kai to succeed. Son, I'm afraid I've suffered a loss this time. Zuofang secretly sighed and transmitted a voice message. If he had known that the tortoise shell was really useful, he would not have given it to Wang Kai. Now that he saw that Wang Kai had cracked the secret of the tortoise shell, he felt a little indignant. However, Zuofang Shinu despised this and immediately transmitted a voice message. Father, even if you stay, you won't be able to crack the secret of the tortoise shell. Why don't you give it to young Master Kai? In the future, the Zuofang family may become a great force in the unbreakable region. I hope so. Even so, The left side still felt a little worried about their gains and losses. This was human nature. At the same time, Wang Kai's figure slowly appeared in front of a dark city gate. Unbreakable divine prison? Glancing at the three pitch-black words above the city gate and the ancient city in front of him, Wang Kai could not help but touch his nose. He secretly felt a little gloomy and uncomfortable. How many years has it been? Finally, there's a newcomer? We thought Shenluo was already dead. Since someone has been sent to the unbreakable divine prison, it means that guy is still alive. Forget it. Let's get to work. Following a few conversations, four middle-aged men in broken black armor walked out from the city gate. Name, background, cultivation, crime age. Chapter 881. I am Wang Kai. I am from the void. I am a dominator. I am imprisoned because I am too handsome, too strong, and too young. I am 18 years old. Wang Kai placed his hands behind his back and smiled calmly. It was as if the information he had just revealed was very ordinary. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience points and 10,000 bragging points. However, Wang Kai's series of information had already caused the four guards to be stunned on the spot. For a moment, they were unable to regain their senses. Dominator Realm? An 18-year-old Dominator Realm? How is that possible? Even though none of the cultivators imprisoned in the unbreakable divine prison were simple, there wasn't a single sovereign realm expert that was 18 years old. Not to mention an 18-year-old Dominator Realm expert. There was not even a 1,800-year-old Dominator Realm expert. Kid, are you bragging in front of us? Why don't you say you are from the void? Why don't you say you are from the latrine? That's right. We are asking which of the four domains you are from. If you continue to spout nonsense, we will make you a lonely soul outside the city. An 18-year-old Dominator Realm expert. I almost believed you. The four guards regained their senses and looked at each other. They were extremely disdainful of Wang Kai. What Wang Kai had said was really unacceptable. Bin Xiao, you are the ignorant idiots, aren't you? We're the four domains in the current sky domain. There are 9 domains, okay? Also, when I say that I'm from the void, I'm from the void. I'm the domain master of the void domain. As a sovereign realm expert, I'm 18 years old. I'm a chaotic realm expert. Wang Kai clasped his hands behind his back and said proudly, congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience points and 10,000 bragging points. Void domain? 9 domains? He's a chaotic realm expert? Such words stunned the four guards once again. Could it be that this young man was 18 chaotic realms? Wouldn't that be more impressive than Shenluo? Since that was the case, why were they locked up? Wasn't this just bragging? However, even though they knew that Wang Kai was bragging, the four guards still frowned. There are no longer 4 domains in the Qianyu Starry Sky, but 9? Wang Kai shrugged when he saw this and said in an indifferent voice, that's right. All of you were imprisoned in a tortoise shell. Oh, the 9 palace plate of Shenluo. Unfortunately, Bin Xiao only managed to grasp one of the fragments. It took him a lot of effort to enter the unbreakable divine prison. His purpose was naturally to select talents and bring them out of this place. Bring them out of this place. Whoosh. There were no words more important than these words. In an instant, the four guardians' breathing quickened and their eyes lit up. However, he was unsure of what Wang Kai had said. Was it trust or distrust? He couldn't decide between the two. He's just bragging, why bother with him? Put him in a random city and let him fend for himself. Suddenly, a mocking laugh was heard. When the four guardians heard the voice, they quickly cupped their fists and accepted the order. Yes, eldest master. Eldest master? Wang Kai squinted his eyes and released his spiritual sense to look at the place where the voice came from. He saw a young man in his late 20s drinking in a brothel. Moreover, his cultivation was only at the ordinary martial emperor realm. Didn't they say that in the unbreakable divine prison, all cultivators can't have cultivation? Wang Kai squinted his eyes and was secretly surprised. The reason why he could have his original cultivation was because the system ignored all restrictions. Although a mere martial emperor did not amount to much, in this city with so many mortals, it was already extremely frightening. Take the four guardians in front of him, for example. Other than their strong bodies and some strength, they didn't have any cultivation at all. Even a martial disciple could beat them down. Why don't you have any cultivation? Wang Kai asked with a frown. In response, the four guardians sneered and ignored Wang Kai. Instead, they were discussing which district to send Wang Kai to. Well, let's go to the West District. Shi Fengzi, I'll leave him to you. Let's go. Soon, after discussing, they decided on where Wang Kai would go. Four guardians came together, and now there was only one left. Kid, I'm a mayor of the West District. Before I take you to the West District, there are some things that I have to tell you. So, listen carefully and don't ask. Do you understand? Shi Fengzi said indifferently. Oh, then tell me. In response, Wang Kai didn't have any objections. He simply nodded and did as he was told. In the unbreakable divine prison, there are 4 districts: north, south, east, and west. They correspond to the 4 regions of the sky domain. For example, before I came in, I was from the West District. So, I can only live in the West District. As for the 4 great districts, they are under the jurisdiction of the prison head, which is also the city lord's mansion. In the entire unbreakable divine prison, only those from the city lord's mansion have the qualifications to possess cultivation. Although their cultivation is worlds apart from the outside world, they're the strongest within the unbreakable divine prison. You can't disobey them. Every 3,000 years, there will be a war to compete for the position of warden. Whoever wins will become the next warden, which is the city governor of the unbreakable divine prison. At the same time, they can also obtain a fixed cultivation. Within 3,000 years of your appointment, your descendants can also obtain a fixed cultivation, which is the martial emperor realm. Of course, as the warden, your cultivation is the strongest, which is the martial sage realm. Following Shi Fengzi's explanation, Wang Kai suddenly understood. It was no wonder that the eldest young master possessed the cultivation of martial emperor realm. After all this time, he had actually benefited from his father, the warden. As for the fixed cultivation, as the name suggests, it could only be the martial emperor realm. It would not increase or decrease. What if the warden's term is up? What will happen? Will his cultivation disappear? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and asked curiously. When the term is up, the competition for the next warden will begin. If the competition is lost and the current warden is not replaced, the position will not change. Furthermore, you must listen carefully. The current warden has been appointed for 15 consecutive terms. He is the one who has the longest term in the unbreakable divine prison. Of course, if someone is able to succeed in the competition, the original warden and his descendants' cultivation will all disappear. They will also completely disappear from the unbreakable divine prison. Shi Fengzi said calmly. Disappear? Inside the unbreakable divine prison? When he heard this, Wang Kai's eyebrows raised slightly. He could not help but rub his nose and said with a playful smile, Your so-called disappearance, is it death or life? Or is it freedom after leaving the unbreakable divine prison? No one knows. Follow me to the West City. How far you can go there will depend on your own ability. Shi Fengzi snorted coldly. Chapter 882. No, there's no need. Ben Xiao came here to have some fun and pick a few experts with monstrous cultivation in the outside world. How could he really live here like you guys? Wang Kai shrugged and smiled indifferently. Swoosh. Hearing this, West Wind frowned and pulled out the long saber at his waist. He chuckled and said, Are you going to disobey orders? Disobey orders? You still want to use your saber? In the unbreakable divine prison, one is immortal and indestructible. Since that's the case, what can you do to Ben Xiao? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and smiled disdainfully. Buzz. West Wind pulled out his long saber. As he waved it, a cold light flashed. He laughed coldly and said, The so-called immortal and indestructible is to survive safely. If one is killed by others in the divine prison, that is true death. You don't want to die right after coming in, right? Hearing this, Wang Kai was stunned. He frowned and thought for a while. Only then did he understand. It was true that one was immortal and indestructible in the unbreakable divine prison, but one had to be able to survive safely. As long as one was not killed by others, one could continue to live and be immortal and indestructible. As for natural disasters and diseases, they would not appear at all. Only when one was killed by others would one truly die. Come and try. Chop Ben Shao and see how strong you are. Wang Kai shrugged and said with a smile. In the unbreakable divine prison, others did not have cultivation, but he did. Even if the prison head's branch had some cultivation, compared to his 9th grade star god realm, the difference was simply incalculable. You're King courting death. Buzz. Bang. Clang. Crack. Suddenly, under the guard saber, Wang Kai was not injured at all. Instead, the long saber shattered and West Wind's body was sent flying back. Remember this next time, don't judge a book by its cover. Ben Shao had already held back. Otherwise, under Ben Shao's resistance, not only would your life be in danger, the entire unbreakable divine prison would be destroyed. Wang Kai smiled with his hands behind his back and walked into the city. West Wind stood there dumbfounded, staring blankly at Wang Kai's back, unable to come back to his senses for a long time. Although he had no cultivation in terms of strength, he was one of the ordinary people in the West City. Only the prison head's branch could suppress him. But this young man who had just entered was so powerful. What are you still standing there for? If you don't want him to snatch your position as mayor, then quickly gather the other guards and take him down together. Yes, eldest young master. West Wind's body trembled, and he hurriedly got up and cupped his fists. He naturally did not think that Wang Kai had cultivation. He thought that he had some skills. Similarly, eldest young master did not think that Wang Kai had cultivation. No need to go through so much trouble. Ben Shao doesn't care about a mere mayor's position. If he wants to be the city lord. Let's go. Take Ben Shao to see your old man. Buzz. In a brothel called Drunken Flower House, the eldest son of the unbreakable divine prison, Duan Long, was drinking and chatting with a few beautiful women in a private room. Regardless of whether it was the eldest young master or the other ladies, they were all shocked by Wang Kai's sudden appearance in the room. What are you looking at? Ben Shao will never choose trash like you who was born in the unbreakable divine prison to be his subordinate. Even if he takes you out, you're just trash. As for the rest of you, even if you weren't born in the unbreakable divine prison, Ben Shao won't take a fancy to you. You're too ugly. Wang Kai shrugged and said indifferently. Hearing this, the first young master Duan Long and the other beauties revealed anger and disdain on their faces. Impudent. You just came in and you want to leave? Is your brain damaged from fright? Duan Long sneered in disdain. That's right. Also, you need to know that 98% of the people in the unbreakable divine prison were born in the prison. In other words, the original unbreakable divine prison only had 2% of the total number of prisoners in it. However, it's impossible for you to take them away. It's unknown if you can even find them. Pay. You don't have the ability to take them away. You can't even protect yourself. A few beautiful women laughed disdainfully one after another. How many people are there in the unbreakable divine prison? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and asked in surprise. More than 10 million. You talk too much. When a beautiful girl opened her mouth to reply, the eldest young master, Duan Long, furrowed his brows and scolded. He flipped his hand and sent a slap down. Slap. Buzz. With a slap, the beautiful woman turned into a rain of blood and disappeared. Now, there's one less person, Duan Long said indifferently. When the other women saw this scene, they were so frightened that they kept quiet out of fear. They deeply lowered their heads, and their delicate bodies trembled. They did not dare to say another word, and even their breathing became extremely light. More than 10 million, 2% of them were sent in by Shenluo. That means There are more than 200,000 people who were originally cultivators in the sky domain. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and thought to himself, although he didn't know how strong these 200,000 cultivators were in the sky domain. Since they were sent in by Shenluo, they definitely weren't weak. Take the 4 guards, for example. They were definitely sent in by Shenluo himself. Unfortunately, in the unbreakable divine prison, they had no cultivation and could only submit to the prison head's bloodline. You were able to defeat West Wind Z. This proves that you were originally very strong in the outside world, but in the unbreakable divine prison, no matter how strong you were, if you were a dragon, you have to coil up. If you were a tiger, you have to lie down. F***CKU. You think you're awesome? Bin Xiao really didn't beat you up, right? Get lost. Wang Kai frowned. He flipped his hand and slapped across the air. Bang! Crack! With a slap, Duan Long didn't have time to react and disappeared on the spot. Even a rain of blood didn't appear. He just disappeared into thin air. When the beautiful women saw this, they were frightened. They didn't know whether Duan Long was alive or dead. They could only stand there with pale faces and didn't dare to make sound. However, Wang Kai knew very well that Duan Long was dead. He had already erased all traces of him as a human. Even if he wanted to reincarnate, it was impossible. Do you know who were the cultivators sent in by Shenluo? Oh, they were the earliest people in the unbreakable divine prison. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and asked indifferently. In response, the beautiful women looked at each other, shook their heads, and said, I don't know. Those people are all very mysterious and very secretive. Even the head jailer doesn't have more than 100 people under his control. Furthermore, those less than 100 natives have all become the subordinates of the head jailer. Original residents? Wang Kai grinned when he heard this. He didn't expect that the people in prison here had become the original residents. Chapter 883. Then how were you all born? Wang Kai frowned and asked rather speechlessly. Since there were only 200,000 people sent in by Shenluo, then where did the 10 million people in the unbreakable divine prison come from? If they were the descendants of those 200,000 cultivators, then why did their descendants say that they were very mysterious and secretive? If they were not the descendants of those people, then where did these 10 million people come from? Of course, it's our parents. The few beautiful women looked at each other when they heard this and replied with a blushing face. They were all very curious as to why Wang Kai would ask such a question. It could be said that they had already misunderstood from the beginning. Of course I know that your parents gave birth to you. Bin Xiao didn't want to ask about this, but your ancestors, aren't they the 200,000 cultivators personally sent in by Shenluo? Wang Kai said impatiently with a dark face. As we don't know either. Faced with their response, Wang Kai waved his hand and completely chose to give up the idea of continuing to ask. If he continued to ask like this, he really wouldn't be able to get the answer he wanted. Let them leave. Even if we continue to ask, they won't be able to explain it clearly. Suddenly, along with an extremely coquettish laughter, the door was gently pushed open. A middle-aged woman with skin as white as snow, wearing a black dress, walked in. Her appearance did not lose to the Valley Master of the 100-Flower Valley. In fact, in terms of figure and charm, she even surpassed the Valley Master of the 100-Flower Valley. Seeing this, Wang Kai's eyes narrowed slightly. He originally thought that this woman was also a prostitute here, but he saw that the extremely beautiful woman actually revealed a puzzled expression. Then, who was this woman? You can leave. Wang Kai waved his hand and said indifferently, Yes, young master. After the few beautiful women quickly left, Wang Kai sat on the chair and said with a faint smile, Speak. What news can you bring to Ben Xiao? Don't you want to know who I am? The woman in the black dress laughed softly. She swayed her body and directly came in front of Wang Kai. With waves of fragrance, she sat in Wang Kai's arms. Using her extremely soft and delicate body, she tightly stuck to Wang Kai's body. In response, Wang Kai's eyes narrowed into slits. He thought that this woman was rather interesting. Oh, then, who are you? Wang Kai reached out his hand and lifted her chin as he asked with a faint smile. Sky domain, starry sky, eastern region, Black Widow, 10 miles of fragrance. Air. Hearing this, Wang Kai's body suddenly stiffened. After all this time, she was actually a widow. Moreover, she was a F*King Black Widow. Although his cultivation did not disappear because of the suppression of the unbreakable divine prison, he still felt a little scared when he heard the name Black Widow. Cough, cough. The name Black Widow doesn't sound very nice. However, looking at you, you seem to like this name a lot. Wang Kai touched his nose and smiled with a speechless expression. Young master is indeed not an ordinary person. You only care about my name, but you're not surprised that I was personally sent in by Shenluo. 10 miles of fragrance blinked her beautiful eyes. Her slender, jade-like hands slowly moved down Wang Kai's chest. Her voice was extremely soft and charming. In response, Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders and didn't say anything. Since she had introduced herself and said that she was from the eastern region of the sky domain starry sky, it naturally revealed her origin. After all, the current sky domain starry sky was divided into 9 regions, not 4. There was no such thing as the eastern region. How did you find Ben Xiao? Ben Xiao can see that you don't have any cultivation. Wang Kai squinted his eyes and asked softly, This drunken flower brothel was created by me back then. I have always been in this brothel. However, as time passed, no one knew who I was. 10 miles of fragrance pursed her red lips and smiled gently. No wonder she could find him. She had always been in this brothel. 10 miles of fragrance. Tell me, what information can you bring to Ben Xiao? If you can't satisfy Ben Xiao, not only will you lose your virginity, you will also lose your life. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled mockingly. Lose her virginity. She will also lose her life? Hearing such direct threats, 10 miles of fragrance was stunned for a moment. She had never seen someone like Wang Kai. Not only did he want her body, he would not even let her life go. Now, even 10 miles of fragrance, the famous Black Widow of the sky, domain starry sky, felt her heart tremble for no reason. She did not have any cultivation at all. She could not defeat Wang Kai at all. The cultivators you're looking for, I know the location of some of the strongest. Coincidentally, I am the 5th sinner sent to the unbreakable divine prison by Shenluo. Well, to be clear, I am the 5th strongest cultivator in the Shenluo era, excluding Shenluo. 10 miles of fragrance smiled proudly. The 5th strongest cultivator in the Shenluo era, excluding Shenluo. Did that mean that there were 4 other experts above her? Even Wang Kai did not expect this woman to be so powerful. In the Shenluo era, she was actually ranked 5th. Moreover, she was a F*King Black Widow. How many people are in the group you mentioned? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and asked. 4 people. Including me, there are 5. Those 4 people, are they the ones who are stronger than you? Young master is indeed smart. That is the case. After getting the answer he wanted, Wang Kai could not help but feel a little worried. How strong were the experts of the Shenluo era? Now that he had the information of the 5 strongest people, he was worried that their cultivation was not enough to protect him. After all, now that he was about to reach the sovereign realm, the system update period would also come. If these sinners in the unbreakable divine prison could not protect him, he could only use the vanishing shadow to control the big shots in the sky domain starry sky. Young master, you seem to be worried? 10 miles of fragrance's beautiful eyes flickered and asked in surprise. In her opinion, Wang Kai could have such a terrifying cultivation in the unbreakable divine prison. Since that was the case, what else could he be afraid of? She did not know that Wang Kai was not afraid at all. He was just a little uncertain. Since you are known as the Black Widow and claim to be the 5th strongest person in the Shenluo era, why don't you tell me, starting from you, what are the original realms of the 5 strongest people? Wang Kai asked with narrowed eyes. Martial disciple. Bang! As soon as 10 miles of fragrance's voice fell, Wang Kai's jaw dropped and he almost fell off the chair. His face darkened in an instant. He thought that they were strong. After all this time, they were just F asterisk King martial disciples? The 5 strongest cultivators in the Shenluo era were just martial disciples. The first entry realm of martial arts. Chapter 884. You're not joking with me, are you? Or are you trying to make fun of Ben Shao? Wang Kai's face darkened as he coldly snorted. If this woman couldn't explain herself, no matter how beautiful and charming she was, Wang Kai would slap her to death on the spot. You're exaggerating. I am indeed a martial disciple, and I'm the weakest rank 1 martial disciple. The strongest person is a rank 9 martial disciple who is about to step into the martial master realm. It's even said that he's infinitely close to becoming a divine Luo. Shirley Xiang's red lips moved as she hurriedly explained. Martial disciple, martial master, and infinitely close to becoming a divine Luo. If that's the case, then the divine Luo that was rumored to be a god was only slightly stronger than a martial master? Wasn't this too much of a trap? Looks like you don't want to live anymore. If that's the case, then Ben Shao will send you on your way. Wang Kai's face darkened as he coldly snorted. No matter if it was the 9 great paths or the 9 palace plate, they were definitely not something a martial disciple or martial master could do. If that's the case, then this Black Widow Shirley Xiang was just spouting nonsense and looking for death. Why you say that, young master? I'm clearly speaking the truth. I'm really a martial disciple. Shirley Xiang's expression changed as she hurriedly got down from Wang Kai's body and bowed as she loudly explained. Do you think that Ben Shao is very young, very pure, and easy to fool? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes as he grinned. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. How is that possible? No matter how stupid I am, I wouldn't think that you're young and pure. Shirley Xiang turned around and covered her face as she replied. Seeing this scene, even if Wang Kai didn't specifically look, he could imagine that this woman was definitely secretly laughing. Forget it. It's pointless to continue wasting time with you. Since that's the case, go to hell. Wang Kai raised his hand and said impatiently. Wait, young master. Everything I said is true. May I know why young master wants my life? Also, didn't he say that he should take her virginity first before taking her life? Could it be that young master is lying? Shirley Xiang turned around, blinked her beautiful eyes, and asked in shock. The corner of Wang Kai's mouth twitched violently upon hearing this. Even his hand had stiffened in the air. He never imagined that the Black Widow was actually so good at chattering. Even before his mother died, she still wanted him to visit her. There's nothing wrong with what she said. We are indeed martial disciples. However, we are stronger than the rulers. Above the rulers are the chaotic warriors who have mastered the power of chaos. That's right. In the original Sky Domain, there were only 6 chaotic warriors. At the same time, there can only be 6 chaotic warriors. This is an unchanging principle and rule. Even if the current Sky Domain is different from the past, there are only 6 chaotic warriors. If the cultivator's aptitude is poor, I'm afraid there isn't even 1 chaotic warrior. As the 3 different voices sounded, 3 figures appeared outside the door and walked in one after another. The first was a white-haired old man in a gray robe. He held a tobacco pipe in his hand and spoke as he tapped the ash from the pipe. The second was a boy who looked to be about 7 or 8 years old. He only wore a golden doo-doo from head to toe. Even his penis could be seen clearly. In particular, the boy was holding a stick of candied haws in his hand. He was licking it happily and looked very stimulating. The last one was a headless armor knight riding a headless black horse. His entire body was covered in pitch black armor. Even his mount was covered in armor. Moreover, there was still black smoke coming out from where their heads were cut off. It seemed like the smoke would never stop flowing. An old man smoking with a tobacco pipe, a boy wearing a doo-doo with his penis exposed, and the last one was a headless rider. Even his black horse was headless. Chaotic warriors? Why didn't you tell me about this earlier? You almost made me misunderstood and killed me here. Black Widow Shirley Xiang pouted her red lips and snorted in displeasure. Hearing this, the 3 people ignored her and stood silently in the room, facing Wang Kai. With the addition of the Black Widow, F*CK, they're all weirdos. Wang Kai touched his nose and was speechless. He tilted his head and looked at the door. When he saw that there was no one in the room, he asked in surprise, including the Black Widow, "There are only 4 of us. Should there be one more?" "No, he's not coming. He's afraid of strangers and doesn't dare to come." The boy with the doo-doo licked the candied haws and replied in a childish voice. The old man with the tobacco pipe at the side also explained in agreement. Afraid of strangers? There is actually someone who is afraid of strangers? Among the 5 strongest experts of the Shenluo era, there was still a mother of Asterisker who was afraid of strangers. Wang Kai grinned. For a moment, he didn't know what to say. It was really too weird, too weird. Chaotic warriors, warriors of the chaotic force, and they started from the martial disciple realm. Who is the strongest among you? Wang Kai asked with narrowed eyes. The one who didn't come. The 4 people replied at the same time. Wang Kai was stunned. After a long while, he waved his hand and accepted it. The strongest one was actually afraid of strangers. Why was he locked in by Shenluo? Wang Kai asked in surprise. He wanted to leave the sky domain, but at that time, including us, there were 6 people in the sky domain who had mastered the remaining chaotic force. He wanted to seize all of them to achieve his goal. The headless rider said, "I see. After all this time, Shenluo wasn't a good person. In order to achieve his goal, he imprisoned the rest of the experts." However, Wang Kai was rather curious about how the headless horseman spoke. In fact, he felt a little awkward listening to him speak. "Bin Xiao can take you out of the unbreakable prison, but on the condition that you all become Bin Xiao's subordinates and obey Bin Xiao's orders. You can't disobey or doubt him. You have to do whatever Bin Xiao says, understand?" Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and smiled faintly. The 4 of them didn't hesitate and replied in unison, "Yes." However, Wang Kai felt rather uneasy in his heart when he saw them agree so readily. Who knew if they were sincere or just faking it? However, with the ability of vanishing shadow, Wang Kai didn't care. As long as he could control their shadows, it would be futile to resist. However, you need to take a look first to see if there are any chaotic warriors in the Qingyun starry sky with the power of chaos. If there are, we won't dare to go out even if we want to. The old man with the tobacco pipe sighed. That's right. The moment we go out, the sky domain won't tolerate us. The possibility of us being killed is very high. The boy licked the candied haw and smiled. Chapter 885. He didn't kill me. Instead, he wanted me to live with hatred just like him. However, the difference was that I didn't have a target for revenge because he killed himself in front of me. Black Widow said faintly. So ruthless? Wang Kai was stunned when he heard this. He did not expect that the person who killed the Black Widow's entire family did not kill the Black Widow in the end. Instead, he killed himself in front of her, allowing the Black Widow to live with hatred and without a target for revenge. Because of his suicide, you lost your target for revenge. So, after cultivating, you started to harm the cultivators in the Qingyun starry sky? Wang Kai touched his nose and roughly understood. Black Widow didn't deny it. She nodded and said, "That's right. If you want to blame someone, blame that despicable bastard." "Why are you blaming him?" "Before he died, he said that he would let you live in the same pain as him. Doesn't this prove that he should have the same experience as you? And his experience was brought to him by your family. An eye for an eye, an eye for an eye. It's only right." Wang Kai shrugged and said faintly, "Even so, what can you do? Why didn't he kill me as well? If he left me alive, why did he choose to kill himself? To make me lose my target for revenge?" Black Widow gritted her teeth and said. Hearing this, Wang Kai could not help but shake his head and laugh. He faintly said, "This only proves that his hatred for your family is no less than the hatred you currently have for him. In fact, it may even be greater. Even if he exterminated your entire family, he wanted to leave you alive. He wanted you to live a painful life without a target for revenge. Yes, to put it bluntly, he wanted you to suffer even in death. Black Widow was silent. She naturally understood this logic. However, her hatred didn't allow her to be clear-headed. Wait here. Soon, Bin Xiao will come and take you out. Of course, don't kill people by marriage in the future. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled faintly. Aren't you afraid that I will kill you? Black Widow blinked her beautiful eyes and stared at Wang Kai. She asked curiously, do you have that ability? Wang Kai didn't care about this at all. He shrugged and put on his clothes. He smiled proudly and said, Bin Xiao's power can't be described with words. Bin Xiao's strength is incomparable. Take Shen Luo, for example. He's just a younger brother in front of Bin Xiao. Congratulations on successfully bragging. You've received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to rank 1 dominator. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through. You have received 100 star source points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through. Your star force has reached level 10. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through the realm. The Extinction Shadow technique has reached level 2. Host, Wang Kai profession, Star Warrior rank. Rank title, Unravel's Bragging Star technique. Karma Star technique. No identification. Torch Dragon's Eyes Bragging S weapon to ranks star source points. 3. 900 bragging points for 10000 experience. 05000000 after hearing the series of notifications. Wang Kai was so scared that his face turned pale and cold sweat broke out on his back. In a moment of carelessness, he had bragged too much, causing him to reach the sovereign realm. At first, he didn't want to brag. After all, if he reached the dominator state later, he would have an extra layer of protection with the system. But now, it hasn't entered the update period. This young master is so handsome that the heavens and earth lose their color, and the sun and moon lose their light. Any beauty who sees me will definitely strip naked. Wang Kai grinned and probed. Congratulations on successfully bragging. You've received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. After hearing the notification of the rewards, Wang Kai frowned and secretly asked, Didn't you say that the system will enter the update period after reaching the dominator state? Could it be that it's all fake? Host, the system will only enter the update period when you reach the 9th grade dominator state. Otherwise, based on the system's judgment of your character, you will definitely die a horrible death. F***CK. After hearing such a response, Wang Kai's face darkened. He didn't expect the system to belittle him like that. It was simply inhumane. If possible, Wang Kai would definitely beat the system up. Unfortunately, the system didn't have a physical body. This is good too. As long as Bin Xiao reaches the peak of the 9th grade dominator state, the system will enter the update period. The only ones I need to be wary of are the 6 chaotic warriors with the power of chaos. Maybe there won't even be 6. Wang Kai frowned and thought to himself. However, Black Widow, who was lying on the bed, stared blankly at Wang Kai's rapidly changing facial expression. She could not figure out what was going on with him. Don't tell me you can't get out? The Black Widow covered her face and exclaimed. Hearing this, Wang Kai came back to his senses. He narrowed his eyes and couldn't help but have a bad taste. He turned around and shook his head. He sighed sadly and said, Yes, Bin Xiao actually miscalculated. He really can't get out. You're shameless. If you don't have the ability to come and go as you please, why do you want to defile me? You're despicable. You're despicable. You deserve to die. In an instant, the Black Widow jumped up in anger. She grabbed the wooden pillow and threw it at Wang Kai. A strong sense of grievance and unwillingness, as well as a deep sense of injustice, surged into her heart. The Black Widow started to sob. He was completely angered to the point of crying. Bin Xiao was just joking with you. Do you have to be like this? Seeing this, Wang Kai rubbed his nose and said speechlessly. Soon after, he used his mind to communicate with the system and left the unbreakable divine prison. Seeing Wang Kai disappear, the Black Widow was stunned for a moment. Only then did she tightly clench her teeth and angrily rebuked. When we meet again, I'll definitely squeeze you dry on the bed until you die. However, Wang Kai, who had already returned to the Zhuofang clan's hall, didn't know what the Black Widow was thinking at this moment. Young Master Kai, seeing Wang Kai suddenly appear, Zhuofang Shinu and the others all greeted him with joy on their faces. At the same time, the tortoise-shell fragment of the Nine Palace plate appeared from the void and floated into Wang Kai's palm. How long has Bin Xiao been gone? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and kept the tortoise shell. He turned to look at Zhuofang Shinu and the rest and asked, "Not more than 2 hours." Zhuofang Shinu hurriedly replied. 2 hours. He had clearly spent a night there. But in this world, not even 2 hours had passed. This is rather interesting. Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders and pursed his lips into a smile. He secretly thought that Shenluo was also very powerful. Who would have thought that there was a world within a small tortoise shell? Moreover, there were tens of millions of living creatures in that world. Chapter 886. Is there any way to spread the news across the entire Qingyan starry sky? For example, the fragment of the Nine Palace plate? Wang Kai asked, squinting his eyes. What? Young Master Kai, you want to? Zhuofangshin's face turned pale with fright. He was left speechless for a moment. If the news about the fragment of the Nine Palace plate spread across the entire Qingyan starry sky, they would be crushed by countless forces. Moreover, none of the forces that would come would be weak. Bin Xiao wants to hold a world martial arts competition. He welcomes all the experts in the Qingyan starry sky to participate, including those in the sovereign realm and above. Wang Kai shrugged and said with a faint smile, "World martial art competition? Even sovereigns could participate? Is young Master Kai crazy? Why would a dignified sovereign realm expert participate in a mere competition? Is there anyone stronger than a sovereign realm expert in the Qingyan starry sky?" Zhuofang Shinu frowned, and his mind was full of question marks. "What do you want to achieve?" Senior Sister Qing asked. In response to this question, the others also looked at Wang Kai. They were curious about what he wanted to do. "I don't have any purpose. I just want to see the cultivators of the 9 domains in the Qingyan starry sky fight each other. Of course, the prize is the fragment of a 9 Palace plate and a complete ultimate path." Wang Kai shrugged and smiled. The fragment of a 9 Palace plate. The complete ultimate path. It was a treasure left behind by Shenluo and was the #1 treasure in the Qingyan starry sky. If there is the temptation of the fragment of the 9 Palace plate and the complete ultimate path, the sovereigns of the 9 domains will definitely participate. However, Zhuofang's eyes were filled with worry as he spoke. He was not worried about Wang Kai, but about Zhuofang Shinu and the Zhuofang family that was related to Wang Kai. After all, Wang Kai's actions were undoubtedly courting death. However, what? Are you trying to say that Bin Xiao doesn't have the strength to hold the world martial arts competition? Wang Kai asked with a playful smile. This Zhuofang was speechless. He really didn't know how to persuade Wang Kai. If he really did that, would he still have a chance to live? Letting the rulers of the 9 domains fight each other just so Wang Kai could watch the show? It would be strange if he could survive this kind of monkey trick. Have you thought about the consequences? Senior Sister Qing asked indifferently. She was not like Zhuofang, who would definitely say whatever she wanted to say. Consequences? What consequences? Are you saying that the experts of the 9 domains will kill Bin Xiao? This won't happen because Bin Xiao wants to kill them. How can they still be alive to participate in the martial arts tournament? Wang Kai waved his hand and laughed indifferently. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience points and 10,000 bragging points. Hearing Wang Kai's arrogant words, Senior Sister Qing and the others didn't know what to say. Should they say that Wang Kai really had that kind of strength? Or should they say that he was a frog at the bottom of a well? They didn't know that Wang Kai was doing this because he wanted to find the chaotic warriors in the Qingyan starry sky. If there wasn't, it would be fine. If there was, he would have to find a way to control them with vanishing shadow. Otherwise, Black Widow and the others in the unbreakable divine prison wouldn't be able to come out. Without the protection of an absolute expert, it would be difficult for him to continue showing off in the Qin starry sky. Not to mention that the system didn't believe that his character could survive in the Qin starry sky. Even Wang Kai himself didn't believe in himself. If you were found and killed by those experts before the competition, not only will you lose your life, but you will also lose the fragment of the Nine Palaces plate. Also, forgive me for not being able to confirm whether or not you have the complete ultimate path, Senior Sister Qing said indifferently. Her beautiful eyes flashed with a strong sense of satisfaction. She couldn't defeat Wang Kai, but she could still embarrass him in other ways. You mean to say that Bin Xiao's life isn't as important as the fragment of the Nine Palace plate? Also, you dare to doubt Bin Xiao's strength? I'm not afraid to tell you that Bin Xiao's family is so big that it takes him a year to walk from the toilet to the bedroom. Wang Kai said proudly with his hands behind his back. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience points and 10,000 bragging points. It takes him a year to walk from the toilet to the bedroom? Damn, according to Wang Kai's walking speed. How far would it take him a year to walk? Young Master Kai is mighty. Young Master Kai is mighty. The Longhu brothers, who had been looking for a chance to bootlick, raised their hands and cheered loudly. From the looks of it, it was as if they were truly cheering for Wang Kai. In fact, they were right. There was no other person who could boast to this extent. It's a misfortune that you didn't suffocate to death. Senior Sister Qing covered her face and laughed coquettishly. Didn't suffocate to death? Hearing this, Wang Kai was stunned for a moment before he came to his senses. What do you know? Bin Xiao's so-called one-year journey didn't mean that Bin Xiao really wanted to relieve himself in the toilet, but that Bin Xiao's family had hundreds of millions of toilets for the servants. It's like 10 towns connected together, and the people in the towns all feel like servants. Wang Kai shrugged, his expression extremely casual. It was as if what he said wasn't important at all. Congratulations to the host for successfully boasting. You've received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Okay, I know. You don't have to explain. Since you insist on holding this martial arts competition, you should be prepared to be killed. In short, I can't help you much. Senior Sister Qing's eyebrows curved, and her red lips were smiling. Right now, she couldn't wait to see Wang Kai in big trouble. You want to help? TSK. Why don't you take a look at yourself? It's not that Bin Xiao is looking down on you, but with a weak little trash like you, you can only survive for one episode at most. Wang Kai curled his lips and sneered disdainfully. Congratulations to the host for successfully boasting. You've received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the second stage Sovereign Realm. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the next stage. You've received 100 star source points. Senior Sister Qing's beautiful eyes widened. She didn't expect that the matter that should have been Wang Kai's humiliation would fall on her. Wasn't this just spinning a cocoon around herself? She delivered herself to his doorstep for him to humiliate her? What about you? Don't think that you can be lawless just because you've cultivated for hundreds or even thousands of years. In Bin Xiao's eyes, you'll always be a little sister. Cough, no, you're a little trash. Wang Kai said mercilessly with his hands behind his back. You bastard. Senior Sister Qing was about to go crazy after being reprimanded repeatedly, but she didn't know how to refute. In the end, she could only angrily scold and turn her head away, no longer paying attention to Wang Kai. Chapter 887. Looks like I can only keep them in the system temporarily. With this thought in mind, Wang Kai said indifferently, this is not difficult. Don't resist and hide for a while. I will let you out when we enter the city. Don't resist? Zuofeng Shenu and the others were stunned when they heard this. They looked at each other in confusion, but they still did as Wang Kai said. Buzz. Wang Kai waved his hand, and Zhuafang Shenu and the others, except for senior sister Qing, mysteriously disappeared before their eyes. It was impossible to find any trace of them. There's no use in doing so. It will only bring more trouble, senior sister Qing said indifferently. Hearing this, Wang Kai raised his eyebrows and rubbed his nose. He smiled in confusion and said, "Why do you say so? Our cultivations have far surpassed the Star-Lord realm. Since that is the case, why can't we enter the city? Of course you and I can enter. But when you used a strange, secret technique to hide them, you lost the right to enter the city. Look over there." Senior sister Qing raised her jade-like hand and pointed at the city wall. Following the direction she was pointing at, Wang Kai saw that there were dozens of armored soldiers on the city walls. Their eyes were wide open as they stared intently at him. The scene just now naturally fell into their eyes. There were cultivators who wanted to bluff their way into the unbreakable territory, main city, almost every day. They were already used to it. Therefore, they did not take any action. They only used their eyes to remind Wang Kai not to break the rules of the territory main city. Alas, I originally didn't want to stir up trouble so early, but fate has decreed that I have to stir up trouble. This makes this handsome, kind, and talented young master. How can I kill him? Wang Kai shook his head and sighed again and again. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 3rd grade sovereign realm. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through. You have received 100 star source points. Senior sister Qing's beautiful eyes narrowed when she heard this, and her red lips parted slightly. She was extremely surprised in her heart. She hadn't expected that Wang Kai would actually want to cause trouble in the City Lord's city. In fact, it wasn't that Wang Kai wanted to cause trouble, but he didn't want to be too conspicuous for the time being. At the very least, he would only make a high-profile appearance after successfully entering the city and holding the martial arts conference. However, to enter the city, one had to follow the rules and have the qualifications to do so. Thus, he hid Zhuafang, Shenu, and the others in the system. However, things did not go as he wished. She can enter the city, but you can't. There are only young Master Wang and Madame Wang here. Who else is there? That's right. Young Master Wang and Madame Wang, please enter the city quickly. Under the lead of the 2 burly soldiers, the rest of the soldiers cupped their fists and bowed again. Humph! In the end, you still have to rely on your identity as a member of the Wang family. Senior sister Qing curled her red lips and said in a disdainful tone. She was extremely dissatisfied with being called Wang Kai's wife. However, she also knew that it was useless to defend herself against someone like Wang Kai. If she defended herself too much, it might bring about some bad things. Haha, it's not my Wang family. It's the Wang family. Wang Kai shrugged and said something that baffled senior sister Qing. Then he clasped his hands behind his back and walked into the city. Why do I feel that Madame Wang looks familiar? I feel like I've seen her somewhere before. On the city wall, a soldier frowned and said doubtfully. In response, the rest of the soldiers seemed to recall something and nodded in unison. Of course we've seen her before. We've seen her here. However, I never thought that this young master of the Wang family, Wang Kai, would be so formidable. He even managed to woo the girl that the young master of the Divine Sky sect has taken a fancy to. The leader of the soldiers lamented. Ah, I remember now. She is the disciple of the Valley Master of the 100 Flowers Valley. That's right, the reincarnation of a star god. In an instant, all the soldiers thought of this and looked at each other. All of them were extremely shocked in their hearts. Like the leader of the soldiers, they did not expect the Wang family's young master to steal the girl of the Divine Sky sect's young sect master. Chapter 888. Inside the city, Wang Kai and senior sister Qing walked side by side. After choosing an inn, they gathered in a guest room. Why didn't you go to your own room? Why did you come to Ben Sheo's room? Could it be that you can't bear it anymore and finally want to show your true colors? Are you going to force Ben Shao? F***CK, you can't do that. It's against the law. No matter how charming Ben Shao is, you can't go astray. Wang Kai sat in a chair with his legs crossed. He poured tea and pretended to be afraid with a playful smile. Congratulations to the host for bragging successfully. You've gained 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Shut up. I'm here to ask you why you didn't go to the Wang family when you returned to the city. Why did you choose to stay in an inn? Can't you go back? Or are you not from the Wang family at all? Senior Sister Qing narrowed her eyes and asked in a threatening tone. Whoosh! Wang Kai's eyes narrowed slightly when he heard this. He did not expect this woman to be so sensitive. She was even able to sense something like this. Senior Sister Qing didn't know that Wang Kai had asked all kinds of questions along the way. He didn't know about many forces and even secrets, which made Senior Sister Qing suspicious. Now that he had returned to the city, he chose to stay in an inn instead of the Wang family. This further confirmed Senior Sister Qing's suspicions. Most importantly, Wang Kai's talent, potential, and cultivation were the most important factor. Nobody in the Qingyun Starry Sky had ever heard of such a young man with such a cultivation realm. Even if it was the strongest of the younger generation, if they wanted to cultivate to the Star God realm, they would also need close to 1,000 years. And he was the most powerful kind of genius. Moreover, such a genius didn't exist in the Qingyun Starry Sky. Senior Sister Qing didn't believe that the Wang family could have such a young man like Wang Kai. After all, the Wang family was only the second most powerful force in the city. There were a total of 9 domains in the Qingyun Starry Sky. Why are you going back? Are you in such a hurry to reunite with your family? But I'm sorry, before you sleep with Ben Shao, you can't go back to the house. It's not that Ben Shao doesn't want to go back. It's because you've restricted Ben Shao's chances. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled casually. Congratulations to the host for bragging. You've gained 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Can't go back to the house without sleep? To see people? I've restricted you. Senior Sister Qing's pretty face first turned red, then white with anger. Her delicate body trembled slightly, and she couldn't endure it any longer. She raised her jade-like hand and pointed it at Wang Kai as she angrily rebuked. Wang Kai, can you be a little more decent? Why are you always so shameless? You by God. Bullshit. Who's talking nonsense? You booked 2 rooms, but instead of resting in your own room, you shamelessly came to this young master's room. Not only did you come, you even wanted this young master to take you to the Wang family. Isn't the meaning of this very obvious? Wang Kai frowned and coldly snorted in a rather unfriendly tone. He looked as if he had been wronged. Seeing this scene, Senior Sister Qing was so angry that she bit her red lips with her silver teeth. She had even bitten her thin and translucent lips until they bled. She swore that she had never seen such a shameless person, but his words were so vague that she couldn't refute him. If someone else was here, they would definitely think that what he said was right. Who asked her to barge into his room and asked him to go back? She was so shameless. You win. I like to see how long you can hold on. Senior Sister Qing scolded. She flung her sleeves and stormed out. Bang! As the door was slammed shut, Wang Kai's eyes turned gloomy. It's fine if I use the Wang family's name to do things in other places, but in the main city of the domain, I'm afraid the Wang family will soon find out. Young Master Xian Ming and the others from the Misty House are also in the city. Senior Sister Qing is favored by the young master of the Divine Sky sect. Wang Kai frowned even harder at the thought of this series of troubles. Wang Kai didn't want to get into big trouble before he successfully held the martial arts competition and found out the chaotic warriors in the Sky Domain. Even if he wanted to provoke them, he had to be at the peak of the 9th level of the Sovereign Realm. Besides, he had to get the protection of a chaotic warrior. Even if there was only one, it would be enough. But the trouble in front of him couldn't be solved by hiding. Forget it. I'll upgrade the Sky Piercer to the Sovereign Halberd Divine weapon first. It's the strongest weapon in the Sky Domain. If I have extra bragging points, I'll cultivate a few more Sovereign Star techniques. Thinking of this, Wang Kai closed his eyes slowly and secretly communicated with the system. At this moment, Wang Kai didn't realize that when he closed his eyes, the entire sky domain turned dark. Bastard, what are you doing again? In the adjacent guest room, Senior Sister Ching was about to take off her clothes and take a bath, but she fell into darkness along the way. It was exactly the same as when Wang Kai sneaked up on her and took advantage of her. She immediately scolded him. Forget it, I won't close my eyes. Damn it, I can't even imitate the way a cultivator cultivates. Wang Kai grinned, then opened his eyes and shook his head with a sigh. How many bragging points do I need to upgrade the Sky Piercer to the Sovereign Star Technique? Host, if you want to upgrade the Sky Piercer to the Sovereign Star Technique, you only need 200,000 bragging points, given your current cultivation level. 200,000. Hearing this notification, Wang Kai was overjoyed. It seemed that his breakthrough to the Sovereign Star Technique was indeed effective in obtaining the items in the system. Hurry up and upgrade the Sky Piercer to the Sovereign Star Technique. Congratulations to the host for successfully upgrading the Sky Piercer to the Sovereign Star Technique. A total of 200,000 bragging points have been consumed. Buzz. Following the disappearance of the system notification, the halberd on Wang Kai's back and waist automatically floated in front of him. Under the cover of a golden glow, the halberd's body suddenly turned black and white. The upper half of the spear was black and the lower half was white. Yin and Yang, life and death. A sovereign star technique. Has it reached the level of controlling life and death? It's quite appropriate for a sovereign star technique. Wang Kai shrugged and flipped his hand. He then placed the Sky Piercer on his back and waist. I feel like I've become much stronger. The weapon spirit of the Sky Piercer, the heaven-swallowing beast, said slowly. Its voice was filled with surprise and joy. Wang Kai smiled faintly. The Sky Piercer had reached the Sovereign Star Technique. As its weapon spirit, the heaven-swallowing beast would naturally reach the Sovereign Star Technique too. One Sovereign Star Technique actually only costs 50,000 bragging points? So cheap? Even though he knew that the prices of the items in the system would decrease greatly after he reached the Sovereign Star Technique, Wang Kai didn't expect it to be so cheap. Chapter 889. Congratulations, host, for obtaining the Dominator Grade Star Technique. Attack, Dow Punch. Cost 50,000 bragging points. Congratulations, host, for obtaining the Dominator Grade Star Technique. Defense, Absolute Isolation. Cost 50,000 bragging points. Congratulations, host, for obtaining the Dominator Grade Star Technique. Mass Annihilation. Cost 50,000 bragging points. Host, Wang Kai Profession, Star Warrior Realm. 3rd Grade Dominator Title. Unparalleled Bragging Skill. Shaking Heaven and Earth Star Technique. Karma Tao Technique Star Technique. Tao Punch. Absolute Isolation. Annihilation Identification. Torch Dragon Eye Vanishing Shadow. Level 2 Equipment. Heavenly Halberd Star Power. Level 10 Star Source Points. 100 Bragging Points. 190000 Experience. 30000000500000000. As the notifications sounded and disappeared, the system page also appeared in Wang Kai's mind. Looking at the 3 Sovereign Grade Star Techniques recorded in the system, as well as the Sovereign Grade Divine Weapon, Heavenly Halberd, Wang Kai's confidence instantly soared. With such help, he would definitely be invincible in the heavenly domain after reaching the peak of the 9th stage of the Sovereign Grade. Of course, if a chaotic warrior appeared, Wang Kai wouldn't have much confidence to defeat him. According to the Star Source points I have now, 1 point can be exchanged for 100,000 experience points. 10 points would be 1 million, and 100 points would be 10 million. A total of 4,100 points would be 410 million experience points. Such a huge amount of experience points made Wang Kai's heart beat faster. If he exchanged all the Star Source points he had now, not only would he reach the peak of the 9th Grade Dominator, but he would also gain a lot of experience points. After all, it only took 50 million experience points to break through a realm. 400 million experience points was enough for him to break through 8 small realms. However, Wang Kai, who was already a third-grade dominator, only needed to break through 6 small realms to reach the peak of the 9th-grade dominator. The huge amount of experience points he had was obvious. Before confirming whether there are chaotic warriors, I still can't reach the peak of the 9th-grade dominator. Otherwise, once the system goes through the update, it will lose various functions such as regeneration and immortality. I'm afraid it will be difficult to deal with chaotic warriors. Wang Kai frowned and thought to himself. In the end, he gave up on the idea of reaching the peak of the 9th-grade dominator. It wasn't that he didn't want to reach the peak of the 9th-grade dominator, but the current situation. Fly to your side. Restriction J plate. I want 10. Congratulations to the host for successfully obtaining the token restriction J plate that flew to your side. A total of 100,000 bragging points have been consumed. 1. As the system notification disappeared, 10 silver palm-sized jade plates appeared in front of Wang Kai, floating in midair. One actually cost 10,000 bragging points. Hearing the notification of the bragging points consumption, Wang Kai's mouth twitched. He did not expect that the restriction jade plate, which used to cost a few hundred bragging points, would now cost 10,000 bragging points. It seemed that as his cultivation level increased, the level of the treasures in the system would also increase. Then, Wang Kai dripped his essence blood into the 10 restriction jade plate. At the same time, Zhuofang Shinu and the others were released. Zhuofang Shinu and his 3 subordinates, Zhuofang Eldest, Zhuofang Second, and Zhuofang Third. There were also the Longhu brothers, 4 fourth-generation female disciples from the Hundred Flowers Valley. There were 10 of them. Each of you, take a restriction jade plate and spread the news of the martial arts contest. The bigger the news, the better. If you are in danger, just use your mind and the restriction jade plate will bring you back to Ben Shao instantly. Wang Kai squinted his eyes and said with a faint smile, "Is he really going to hold the martial arts contest?" Hearing this, Zhuofang Shinu and the others were shocked. At first, they thought Wang Kai was joking and bragging. Who would have thought that he was serious? Both the 9 ultimate paths and the 9 palaces plate were treasures that all forces in the Qingyun Star domain dreamed of obtaining. Once the news spread, it would attract countless experts and forces. At that time, no matter whether Wang Kai could take them out or not, he would still be killed. Why are you standing there like idiots? Just do what Ben Shao asked you to do. With Ben Shao here, nothing in the Qingyun Star domain can stop us. Wang Kai shrugged and said with a proud smile, "Congratulations to the host for bragging successfully. You have received 10 million experience points and 10,000 bragging points." Ugh! As soon as these words were spoken, Zhuofang Shinu and the others were speechless. If only things were as simple as they seemed. No matter how strong Wang Kai was, it was impossible for him to become an enemy of the entire heavenly domain, right? Young Master Kai, are we really going to do this? The Longhu brothers did not think too much about it. After all, they would not die no matter what. Even if Wang Kai ended up being hunted down and killed, they would not be afraid. In fact, the Longhu brothers hoped that some super strong experts would attack them so that they could absorb their strength. Yes, once Ben Shao has decided on something, he will never change it. This is the principle of being a person, and also the foundation of being a person. You need to know that if Ben Shao had not made an agreement with a powerful expert, this small Qingyun Star domain would have been destroyed by Ben Shao with a slap. Wang Kai waved his hand and said indifferently, "Congratulations to the host for bragging successfully. You have received 10 million experience points and 10,000 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for breaking through to the 4th grade sovereign realm. Congratulations to the host for breaking through to the next grade. You have received 100 star source points." Hearing this, Wang Kai could not help but raise his eyebrows. According to his character, he might not need those star source points in the end, right? Good. I believe that young Master Kai has the ability. That's right. Young Master Kai is so mighty and domineering. The cultivators in the Qingyun star domain are definitely his little brothers. The Longhu brothers looked at each other and laughed. Then, they each took a restriction jade plate. Anyway, no matter what kind of danger they encountered, they would not die. The Longhu brothers did not need to be afraid of anything. Since Wang Kai wanted to die, they would accompany him. Perhaps they could achieve their goal through Wang Kai. You should also quickly keep the restriction jade plates. The martial arts conference will be held in the Unbreakable Domain main city. The exact time will be 7 days later. The exact location will be known by everyone in 7 days. Wang Kai waved his hand and said with a faint smile, as long as cultivators from all over heard the news and came, the location of the martial arts conference would be known by everyone. The premise was that they had to believe that they would come. Okay, I am willing to accompany young Master Kai. Zhuofang Shun gritted his teeth and took a restriction jade plate with a wave of his hand. Seeing this, Boss Zhuofang and the other two naturally did the same as their master. They each took a restriction jade plate. In the end, only the 4 female disciples from the 100-Flower Valley were left. They all hesitated for a long time and could not make up their minds. After all, Wang Kai's actions were all suicidal. Once there was a mistake, they would be doomed eternally. At the same time, they would be implicated and the 100-Flower Valley would not be spared. Chapter 890. If you don't want to, Bin Shao won't force you. Go back to the 100-Flower Valley. This place is not suitable for you. Wang Kai's face was as calm as an ancient well, without showing any emotion. He understood their hesitation. As the saying went, everyone had their own ambitions. There was no need to step into a fire pit that could lead to death for him. Similarly, Wang Kai did not explain to them, nor did he tell them that there was nothing to worry about. After all, even Wang Kai himself did not know whether the warriors of the chaos would appear or not. It would be fine if there were not 5 or 6 warriors of the chaos. If there were, it meant that the Qingyun starry sky could no longer accommodate other warriors of the chaos. It would be difficult for Black Widow and the others in the 9 Palace Plate to come out and protect him. Although the vanishing shadow could be controlled regardless of the opponent's cultivation, the premise was that he could get close to the opponent. Therefore, no matter what the situation was, Wang Kai was not completely sure that he could handle it. This martial art competition was undoubtedly a desperate competition. We need to ask Senior Sister Qing for her opinion. Yes, we are all from the 100-Flower Valley. We have to follow the valley's rules. It doesn't matter if we lose our lives. If the 100-Flower Valley is implicated, young Master Kai, please don't blame us. The 4 female disciples of the 100-Flower Valley all cupped their fists and explained. Although they did not dare to agree with Wang Kai on the spot, they also did not dare to anger him. Saying that they needed to ask Senior Sister Qing was just an excuse. From the bottom of their hearts, they did not want to court death with Wang Kai. They followed him out of the 100-Flower Valley in order to enter the city of the domain. Through Zhuofang Shinu and the others, they could establish a relationship with the Wang family behind Wang Kai and become a phoenix. But before becoming a phoenix, they had to become enemies with the entire Qingyun starry sky. As long as they were not stupid, they would not agree. Wang Kai deeply understood this, and he immediately waved his hand and said with a light smile, "All of you are right. Go discuss this with your Senior Sister Qing. This young master has always been magnanimous and never holds a grudge. Not to mention, this matter is indeed unrelated to all of you. So how could I allow all of you to fall into a sea of flames? Go. She's in the next room." Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Hearing this, the 4 female disciples were somewhat helpless. They didn't expect that Wang Kai would still brag to improve himself when he agreed to their rejection. It completely destroyed the sense of virtue of understanding others. Many thanks, young Master Kai. The 4 female disciples cupped their fists and expressed their thanks before turning around and leaving the room. On the way, they didn't even glance at Zhuofang Shinu and the others. Zhuofang Shinu, Zhuofang eldest, Zhuofang second, and Zhuofang third did not feel much about it. Both of them were clearly aware of the reason why they had taken a liking to him, followed him out to gain experience, and even pretended to be Tao companions. Alas, why is there no true love in this world? My true love, ah? Zhuofang Shenu held his forehead and sighed repeatedly. True love? Wang Kai couldn't help but shake his head and laugh when he heard this. He stood up with his hands behind his back and said, "Sometimes it's better if it's not true love. If it's your true love, I'm afraid there's a possibility of them dying. If it was true love, how could he watch his beloved take risks alone? If it wasn't true love, he could have escaped in time when he smelled the danger." What? Young Master Kai, what did you just say? There's a possibility of them dying? Zhuofang Shenu and his three subordinates were dumbfounded on the spot. Before, Wang Kai's words and actions were full of confidence, but now he said there was a possibility of them dying? Of course there is. Does young Master Kai need to personally tell you such a simple thing? Brother Dragon sneered disdainfully. Look at your cowardly appearance. Isn't it just becoming enemies with the entire sky, domain, starry sky? What's the big deal? No matter how many people come, this tiger will take them all. Brother Tiger proudly patted his chest and snorted. Go *CK yourself. Zhuofang Shenu cursed angrily. That's right. You have the damn physique that can't die, but we don't. Brother Zhuofang snorted coldly. It's easy for you to say that, you son of a *TCH. Second and third brothers Zhuofang curled their lips and scolded at the same time. The dragon and tiger brothers were furious. They rolled up their sleeves and were ready to fight. If you have the guts, try to touch us. That's right. Try to touch us. Use your full strength. Come on. Hearing this, Zhuofang Shenu spread out his hands and sneered disdainfully. Touch you? Touch you? I like it when you hate me, but can't do anything to me. Idiot, you idiot. Beating you will increase your cultivation. Everyone knows this. Do you think you can get away with it? Idiot, idiot. Brothers Zhuofang, second brother, and third brother's disdain made the dragon and tiger brothers so angry that they grabbed their hair and almost went crazy on the spot. However, there was nothing they could do in the end. They clearly knew that once they attacked, Zhuofang Shenu and the others would dodge their attacks. If they could not receive their attacks, they would not be able to increase their cultivation to defeat them. In the end, they would be the ones suffering. We don't waste our time with trash. That's right. That's right. We don't waste our time with trash. Go and show off yourselves. The dragon and tiger brothers took a deep breath and suppressed their anger in their hearts. They pretended to be disdainful. Even if there was a slight possibility, they would definitely beat the crap out of Zhuofang Shenu and the others. Unfortunately, there was no such possibility. Once the strength of their physiques was exposed, they would not be able to catch their opponents off guard. Do you think we're willing to waste our time with a pair of idiots? What a joke. Let's go. Zhuofang Shenu sneered disdainfully. He flung his sleeves and left with the forbidding jade disc. Brother Zhuofang and the others left behind a disdainful look and followed him. Although they knew how dangerous it was, they didn't go back on their word and still followed Wang Kai's instructions. Wang Kaisin was deeply moved by this. The relationship between the two parties was purely based on benefits. However, after getting along with each other for so long, they were actually willing to risk their lives with him. Sai, Ben Sheo's charm is too great. Not only are countless beauties in love with him, but even his own men are willing to follow him. What a sin. Once we dominate the Qingyun starry sky, I'll give them whatever they want. Wang Kai shook his head and let out a sigh. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. If Zhuofang Shenu and the others heard this, they would definitely regret it on the spot, right? Give them whatever they want. The dragon and tiger brothers automatically ignored Wang Kai's bragging, but they valued his promise greatly. This time, the dragon and tiger brothers were taking a gamble, but their gamble was much less dangerous than Zhuofang Shenu and the others. Even if they failed, they would not die. On the other hand, what if they succeeded? Upon having this thought, The dragon and tiger brothers were extremely excited. They exchanged glances with one another and brought their fists together. Young Master Kai, let's go. We'll definitely do a good job. Chapter 891. For the next few days, the sounds caused by Wang Kai alone could be described as earth-shattering. With the unbreakable region main city as the center, the news of the martial arts competition quickly spread in all directions, causing all the influential forces and experts in the 9 regions to know about it. Of course, what they cared about was not the outcome of the martial art competition, but the rewards. One of the 9 great Daos, the Karma Dao, and it was complete. There was also a fragment of the 9 palace plate. The experts of the 9 regions knew that only the unbreakable region had lost the 9 palace plate. Now that the unbreakable region had taken it out as a reward, the world couldn't help but sigh. However, no one could be sure whether it was true or not. However, there were still many influential forces and experts who came to the unbreakable region main city. At the same time, there were also many experts and forces who were on their way. Although they were skeptical, they couldn't control their restless hearts. At the same time, Wang Kai, who was in the inn, was living a comfortable life. He was lying on a bench, fanning himself with a folding fan, and drinking tea. At night, he would go to the romantic places in the city to play. It could be said that he was extremely carefree. In less than 5 days, Wang Kai had already visited all the brothels of the unbreakable region main city. Moreover, he had left a very famous name. Midnight Crazy Demon. Young Master Kai, you're really awesome. This is the first time I've heard that you don't have to pay to visit a brothel. It's fine that you don't have to pay, but the brothel keeper doesn't even chase you away. What's even more infuriating is that those Shui girls love you so much that they think about you day and night. Patter. As the Long and Hu brothers pushed the door open and entered, they all pouted and their faces were filled with strong resentment. In these few days, they had been spreading the news. How could they have time to play like Wang Kai? However, they didn't have the opportunity to go, but they could hear about Wang Kai's achievements. It could be said that they were envious and jealous. Hee, that's only natural. This young master is a midnight demon, so where would I not be sought after? Think about those little girls. TSK. They love Ben Xiao so much that they want to drown themselves in the river. Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders and smiled proudly. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Young Lord Kai, we've pretty much spread the news. Shouldn't we take a break and have some fun? Brother Long rubbed his hands and grinned. On the side, Tiger Brother's face was also filled with longing. In response, Wang Kai raised his eyebrows slightly and said with a calm smile, "You guys are really not as good as Zhuo Fang Shenu." Oh no, you guys are not as good as his 3 subordinates. They spread the news and were able to get in touch with the young ladies and maids in the city. Ben Xiao heard from them that they secretly had sex with each other several times. Hearing this, the Tiger Brother and Dragon Brother looked at each other and blushed. They were not convinced. However, what Wang Kai said was true. Previously, because they didn't believe it, they secretly observed Zhuo Fang Shenu and the others. The scenes they saw were all extremely erotic. In order to complete the mission perfectly, we didn't even consider that aspect. Brother Long smacked his lips and said without confidence, "Didn't consider that aspect? They clearly didn't have the ability." Okay. Wang Kai found it funny. He waved his hand and said softly, "Forget it. When we're back, Ben Xiao will bring you guys to have some fun at night. With Ben Xiao around, no matter where it is, as long as you go, all the beauties will surround you." Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 5th grade Sovereign Realm. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the next grade. You have received 100 star source points. Hearing this, the Tiger Brother and Dragon Brother secretly expressed their disdain. Although Wang Kai was famous in the domain main city, it was definitely not at the level that he said. Young Master Kai, then let's go to the Ghost Pavilion. I heard that the beauties there all call themselves ghosts. Moreover, their beauty is unbearable. Brother Long said with a smile. That's right, that's right. The taste is different. It's very interesting. Brother Tiger added and grinned. The two brothers' expressions were indescribably strange. Even the ridicule in their eyes could not be concealed. The Ghost Pavilion was located in the Unbreakable Region main city. It was an extremely unique place for romance. There were countless beauties there. They called themselves ghosts. They were dead women that could not be cared for. They were extremely beautiful. Even though Wang Kai was extremely famous in other places, this was the only place where he couldn't reach the level of being sought after by everyone. It could be said that the Ghost Pavilion did not allow Wang Kai to step in. Every time, he would be rejected. Regarding this, Wang Kai was secretly annoyed. However, since the martial arts competition had just started, he could not cause too much trouble. Therefore, he did not force his way into the Ghost Pavilion. Now that he heard that the Tiger Brother and Dragon Brother wanted to go, how could Wang Kai not know what they were planning? They could go anywhere. Saying that they were going to the Ghost Pavilion was just to mock him. You two are really frogs at the bottom of a well, looking at the sky from the bottom of a well. Although this young master was rejected by the Ghost Tower before, no one knew that they were secretly begging this young master to go. On the surface, they didn't let this young master go because they wanted to use this opportunity to show off the uniqueness of the Ghost Tower. This was something that they had discussed with this young master in advance, and the reward was very generous. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and smiled proudly. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience. Bragging points, 10,000. Generous reward? What reward? The Tiger Brother and Dragon Brother were also stunned. Naturally, it was the beautiful female ghosts in the Ghost Pavilion. One by one, they opened their small mouths and gave this young master's little brother, Xiao Kai Kai, a massage. That feeling, TSK, it was so good that it could overturn the heavens and overturn the earth. Now that I think about it, I still have an endless aftertaste. Wang Kai shook his head and made an appearance of floating in the air. That expression could be said to be genuine. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience. Bragging points, 10,000. The beautiful women in the Ghost Pavilion, one by one, using their mouths to exercise their fuck. The Dragon and Tiger Brothers immediately cursed upon hearing this. Their eyes glowed as they felt their throats become extremely dry. Naturally, they were extremely thirsty for such a wonderful thing. Young Master Kai is indeed different from ordinary people. We brothers are full of admiration. We only hope that we can enjoy it once tonight. It doesn't have to be much. Just one female ghost serving each of us with their small mouths will do. Brother Dragon Brother swallowed his saliva and said. The Tiger Brother on the side was also breathing heavily. His face was red as he said in a heavy voice, Yes, using small mouths, that's comfortable, comfortable. A group of shameless people discussing such a filthy matter under such a clear sky. They are completely devoid of conscience and have no moral bottom line. Following a delicate and angry rebuke, Senior Sister Ching, who was wearing a white dress and had a graceful figure and a charming appearance, walked in with a cold face. Chapter 892. Bullsh asterisk T. This is Ben Xiao's room, not outside. Ben Xiao can say whatever he wants. If Ben Xiao wants to, not only will he say it, he might even have sex in the room. It's none of your business. Wang Kai frowned and coldly snorted with a displeased expression. At first, when he went out to have fun at night, this woman would follow him. Later, if he hadn't used his cultivation to carry her away, he wouldn't have had any fun. Now that she couldn't follow him, she actually accused him in front of his face. How presumptuous. You are extremely shameless. I know you've been holding a grudge against the 4 junior sisters for not obeying your orders, so I don't want to argue with you. Senior Sister Ching pursed her red lips and sneered disdainfully. Holding a grudge? Wang Kai's eyes narrowed when he heard this. He couldn't help but touch his nose and say with amusement, "This is a matter of mutual consent. It's reasonable that they don't want to help Ben Xiao spread the news. Why do you think Ben Xiao is holding a grudge?" If you're not holding a grudge, why have you been hiding from me and acting in secret these days? Why haven't you been nice to us?" Senior Sister Qing snorted with a frown. Ben Xiao is free to go wherever Ben Xiao goes. Why should he take you with him? Why should he tell you? Also, from now on, the people of Hundred Flowers Valley and Ben Xiao are strangers. Since you're strangers, why should Ben Xiao give you extra emotions? Isn't it just nice to be strangers? Wang Kai frowned and spread out his hands in confusion. Whoosh! Senior Sister Qing was stunned when she heard this. She never thought that Hundred Flowers Valley would become strangers in Wang Kai's eyes. But on second thought, Wang Kai's actions were reasonable. If they didn't choose to cooperate with him, why should he treat Hundred Flowers Valley as his own? Was it right or wrong to keep the Hundred Flowers Valley out of Wang Kai's business? If he joined in, Wang Kai would fail and the Hundred Flower Valley would be doomed. But if he didn't participate, he would undoubtedly lose his friendship with Wang Kai. No matter what, there was no turning back now, right? With his cultivation, how can he fight against the entire Qingyun starry sky? The choice I made on behalf of my master is absolutely correct. Yes, it can't be wrong. Senior Sister Qing thought to herself as she bit her red lips. All right, if there's nothing else, hurry up and get lost. Even if there's something, don't look for Ben Xiao. Ben Xiao doesn't have the time to care about unrelated people. Wang Kai waved his hand and said with an impatient expression. Seeing this, Senior Sister Qing bit her red lips and glared at Wang Kai with annoyance. Then, she turned around and left without saying a word. Young Master Kai, how can you treat such a beauty like this? The dragon and tiger brothers were stunned. According to Wang Kai's personality, shouldn't he accept all beauties? But now, he actually chased Senior Sister Qing away? She was the reincarnation of the star god, the peerless goddess of the unbreakable region. Even the young master of the Divine Sky sect, the #1 power in the region main city, was pursuing Senior Sister Qing. When it came to Wang Kai, he actually ignored her. What's the use of being beautiful? It's just a stinky skin. You have to remember, if she's not one of us, no matter how beautiful she is, she's still a plaything. If she's one of us, no matter how ugly she is, she's still worth sharing your heart with. Wang Kai shrugged and said with an indifferent expression, whoosh. When they heard this, the dragon and tiger brothers were both startled. They frowned as they pondered over Wang Kai's words. If she's not one of us, no matter how beautiful she is, she's still a plaything. If she's one of us, no matter how ugly she is, she's still worth sharing your heart with. Young Master Kai, today's mission has been completed. There are still 2 days before the 7 days you mentioned. Tomorrow, we'll go over early. At the same time, Zhuo Fang Xinnu, eldest brother Zhuo, second brother Zhuo, and third brother Zhuo entered the room one after another. From their faces, it wasn't hard to see that they were all doing very well. Their appearance of being nourished by happiness was simply beyond words. Hee, I'll go carry out the mission at night. Eldest brothers Zhuo laughed. Me too. Second brother Zhuo and third brother Zhuo looked at each other and laughed in unison. What? At night? Could it be that you have an appointment with the young lady and maid of the Liu family tonight? Damn, why didn't you say so earlier? I could have asked the twin sisters of the Zhang family. Zhuo Fang Xunnu glared angrily and said rather unhappily, Shut up. Shameless people, in the middle of carrying out the mission, you actually dared to flirt with other women. Truly abominable. That's right. Young Master Kai will severely punish people like you who deserve to die. The dragon and tiger brothers, who didn't get any benefits, could no longer suppress their dissatisfaction when they saw how happy they were. F*CKU. A pair of stinky fools, if you have the guts, go and flirt with her too. Zhuo Fang Xinnu snorted with disdain. It's not that they don't want to flirt with her, it's that they can't. I heard that they tried once, but in the end, they failed the mission and were hunted down several times. Eldest brother Zhuo and second brother Zhuo Fang laughed. They weren't hunted down. I heard that they were beaten up. They were lucky enough to survive. Third brothers Wafong frowned and corrected him. I'm so angry. I'm so angry. F*CKU. F*CKU. If you say any more nonsense, I'll castrate you. Why don't you try touching us, brothers? Do you dare? What a joke. It's not that we don't dare. It's just that we like to scold you. It's very satisfying to see your helpless faces. In an instant, the two sides stared at each other with murderous intent. They quarreled endlessly, causing the entire room to be filled with the smell of gunpowder. All right, stop quarreling. Tonight, Ben Shao will bring you to the Ghost Pavilion to have some fun. You can have as many beauties as you want. Look and play as you wish. Wang Kai waved his hand and said speechlessly, Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Ghost Pavilion? We'd better not go. Yeah, we've already made an appointment with someone tonight. Ahem. Zhuofang Shinu and the others laughed awkwardly when they heard this and directly rejected him. Regarding the matter of the Ghost Pavilion rejecting Wang Kai, they had naturally heard about it. They didn't think that what Wang Kai said was true. If they believed him and followed him, who knew what would happen to them? Hee, young Master Kai, you've seen it clearly. They don't believe in your strength and rejected your invitation. Brother Long grinned and sneered. Yeah, they've got guts. Now that they've gotten some benefits, they know how to disobey you, young Master Kai. Brother Tiger squinted his eyes and looked quite unfriendly. Chapter 893. The Ghost Tower. 7 giant coffins were stacked horizontally on top of each other, reaching a height of 100 meters. From the outside, it was covered in dark clouds, looking eerie and strange. It was as if one had entered a graveyard, filled with an aura of death. But even so, the cultivators in the city still flocked to this place. Once night fell, they would enter in a single file, as if it was a common occurrence. Young Master Kai, let's not go to this ghost tower. It looks a bit unlucky. Brother Long frowned. His expression was one of disdain. Brother Tiger was the same. He was a bit disgusted by the ghost tower that was built with coffins. Even though the two brothers were extremely excited before they came, when they arrived at the place, they lost most of their interest with a single glance. Hearing this, Wang Kai raised his eyebrows slightly. He placed his hands behind his back and smiled faintly. You two are immortal. Since that's the case, what are you afraid of? It's true that we are immortal, but we will still be unlucky. The Dragon and Tiger brothers looked at each other and said in unison, if they had known that the ghost tower would be like this, they would have dragged Zhuofang Shinu and the others here, so that they could be affected by the bad luck. Unfortunately, in order to enjoy and show off, the Dragon and Tiger brothers helped Zhuofang Shinu and the others and didn't let them come with them. But now, they had gone on a date with a young lady and a servant, while the two brothers came to such an unlucky place. With Ben Shao here, how can you be unlucky? Isn't that a fantasy? It's not that Ben Shao is boasting, but in terms of luck, Ben Shao is the strongest in the world, surpassing the heavens, stepping on the universe. No one can defeat him. As long as you follow behind this young master, no matter how unlucky you are, you won't be able to run into it. Wang Kai waved his hand and smiled proudly. Congratulations to the host for successfully boasting. You have received 10 million experience, 10,000 bragging points. It would be great if that was the case. The Dragon and Tiger brothers looked at each other. They were speechless. But now that they had followed, they had lost the chance to refuse. They could only nod and accept their fate. Why are you here again? The ghost tower does not welcome you. Please leave. Suddenly, without waiting for Wang Kai to walk towards the ghost tower, he saw a young man dressed in official robes quickly walk out from the door of the tower. He pointed at the road on the side and urged Wang Kai away with an extremely impatient tone. This young man had a flower plume on his head and was dressed in a high-class official robe. Although his face was ordinary, he had the aura of a high-ranking official. However, for a person of such status to appear in a brothel, it was indeed very strange. following a violent sound. The young man's head was directly split open. However, no blood flowed out and there was no trace of scream. He did not even frown in pain. Midnight Mad Demon. Those who have not died once are unable to enter the ghost tower. The young man stood up and held the headless body. He bent down and reached out to pick up the head and clamp it to his waist. Then, he turned around and walked into the ghost tower. At the same time, the door to the ghost tower closed and the entire ghost tower disappeared from sight. Illusion? No, if it's an illusion, it shouldn't be able to confuse Ben Shao. Seeing this scene, Wang Kai's brows slightly furrowed. He couldn't help but release his divine sense to investigate. After a while, he discovered that the ghost tower had already arrived at a valley 100,000 miles away. It had left and was not covered by an illusion, nor was it done by any other method of confusion. To be able to escape Ben Shao's detection in an instant and arrive 100,000 miles away, there must be a high-rank dominator expert within the ghost tower. Also, the star energy is definitely not lower than rank 9. Wang Kai furrowed his brows and thought to himself. The current Wang Kai was already a rank 5 dominator and belonged to the middle rank. If one wanted to deceive Wang Kai, only an even stronger high-rank dominator would be able to deceive him. That is rank 7, 8, and 9. At the same time, the star energy's requirement was to be at least rank 9. After all, Wang Kai had rank 10 star energy and the opponent was rank 9. Therefore, he was only one rank higher than the opponent, rank 5 dominator. In addition to the star energy, it represented the battle power of a rank 6 dominator. I didn't expect a high-rank dominator to appear in a brothel. This is interesting. Ben Shao, let's see what kind of person you are. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled playfully. With a Dominator Star technique, a Dominator Star halberd, and the Vanishing Shadow ability, a high-rank Dominator expert was nothing in Wang Kai's eyes. Chapter 894. In the void, Wang Kai led the dragon and tiger brothers as they walked through the air. For a distance of a mere 100,000 miles, it was only a matter of a breath's time. He did not do that, as Wang Kai wanted to use his divine sense to investigate the ghost tower and see what was so special about it. After receiving so many guests, why did they leave the domain main city and go to the unknown valley that was 100,000 miles away? Young Master Kai, let's not go. Who knows what the ghost tower is up to be so sneaky? Brother Long said with a frown. Brother Tiger, who was beside him, also had a bad feeling. For such a gloomy ghost tower, from the very beginning, it would give people a bad feeling. What else can we do? Find a place where there is no one and have sex together. Wang Kai touched his nose and said with a smile. A place where there is no one, have sex together? The dragon and tiger brothers were startled when they heard this. Then their eyes lit up and they swallowed their saliva. They really liked that kind of thing. But when they remembered that the ghost tower was made of coffins, they felt a little sick of it. I heard that the ghost tower is filled with female ghosts, people who are already dead. Is this true or false? Brother Long asked doubtfully. I hope it is true. After wandering in the sky domain for so long, I have never seen a female ghost, much less done it. I don't know if it tastes good. Brother Tiger said with a smile. Nonsense. If you do a female ghost, your lower part will rot. Brother Long scolded with a frown. Rot? F***K. Hearing this, the younger tiger brother was scared witless. His face turned pale as he shook his head. No wonder when I peeked into the ghost tower before, other than the guests who were going in, there was only the young man wearing the official's robe. So those so-called female ghosts were all people who crawled out from their graves to serve the ghost tower. When Wang Kai retracted his divine sense, the scene he saw shocked him quite a bit. What? Crawled out of their graves? Like I said, this ghost tower is not a good place. It's full of bad luck. The Longhu brothers said with tense expressions. However, when they saw Wang Kai's interested expression, they knew that there was no turning back. They could only brace themselves and follow behind him. However, those women who crawled out of the grave are all very beautiful. No matter if it is their figure or appearance, they are definitely rare in the world. Wang Kai touched his nose and sighed with emotion. rare in the world. The dragon and tiger brothers exchanged glances with one another after hearing this. On one hand, he despised the bad luck. On the other hand, he really wanted to have a go at it. Being stuck in the middle, it could be said that it was extremely painful. Ben Shao will lead the way. Wang Kai shrugged as he waved his hand and shot out a ray of star source energy, trapping the dragon and tiger brothers within. With a single step, he appeared in front of the ghost pavilion in less than a breath's time. How did you follow us here? At this moment, a young man wearing official robes was standing beside the ghost pavilion's door, staring at the female ghosts that lined up to enter the ghost pavilion. Every time one entered, they would write a name in a book. Seeing Wang Kai appear in front of him again, the young man was shocked, but more than that, he was annoyed. You're pretty good at taking a beating. You're still alive, even after losing your head. Wang Kai's hands are behind his back as his gaze fixed on the young man's neck. He saw that there were clear centipede marks there, as if they were sewn together. It wasn't hard to see from those marks that it wasn't a recent one, but an old wound. If this young man wearing official robes was a real dead person, then there was no doubt that his head was cut off when he was alive. What do you know? You're rather interesting to be able to follow us here so quickly and even discover the traces of the ghost pavilion. You can't be a dominator, right? The young man squinted his eyes, his gaze filled with probing. There wasn't any fear. Instead, he was very happy. Seeing this scene, Wang Kai became more and more curious in his heart. This young man was so calm. It only proved that the number of dominator practitioners he had seen was definitely not small. He wasn't the slightest bit afraid of being able to discover the traces of the ghost pavilion. Instead, he was happy. Yes, you're right. Ben Shao is indeed a dominator, and very high. He's also very interested in the practitioner who could move the ghost pavilion 100,000 miles away. Can I meet him? Wang Kai squinted his eyes and said with a playful smile. You want to meet the ghost lord? The ghost lord is right in front of you. Haven't you already seen him? The young man pointed at the ghost pavilion and said with a smile. Whoosh. Hearing this, Wang Kai's pupils suddenly shrank. He touched his nose and said with surprise, You're saying that this ghost pavilion is the ghost lord? That's right. Everyone knows about this, so there's nothing to hide. It's just like the 100-flower pavilion in the 100-flower valley. They're both treasures that have cultivated spirituality. It's just that the ghost pavilion is much higher than the 100-flower pavilion. The young man said with a faint smile, Treasures that have cultivated spirituality form spirituality on their own and cultivate it on their own. They didn't rely on the owner to increase their level. Wang Kai's brows slightly furrowed, looking at the ghost pavilion that was formed by stacked coffins and scanning the surrounding black forest. Graves could be seen everywhere in the cemetery. His heart couldn't help but be filled with surprise. Why are they all in such a stupid state? So many beauties, and they're all dead women, gathered in a cemetery. Where did you get them? What do you want to do? Wang Kai asked with a frown. However, the young man wearing official robes didn't answer this question and continued to be silent. Only when all the beautiful female ghosts had entered the ghost pavilion did the young man put away the black book and pen. He said faintly, They didn't gather here, but they came here on their own. As for what they want to do, isn't it very simple? Of course it's to accompany a man to sleep. This answer doesn't surprise Ben Shao. However, Ben Shao already said before that Ben Shao didn't just die once, but died many times. Since that's the case, why do you still want to stop Ben Shao from entering the ghost pavilion? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and asked in a playful manner. Not stopping anyone, but stopping him. The reason behind this indeed made Wang Kai very suspicious. Stop lying. People who have died are different from you. Unless you've been reborn, but I'm very sorry. Rebirth is simply impossible, the young man said faintly. Hearing this, Wang Kai shook his head and sighed. He had indeed died before and had used the rebirth ability to be reborn. No matter where he was no different from a living person. It was natural for this person to be suspicious. Okay, then we'll do as you say. You can kill Ben Shao now. Wang Kai shrugged and said with a casual smile. Young Master Kai, Without waiting for the young man to speak, the dragon and tiger brothers on the side were already extremely anxious. What a joke. Putting one's life on the line just to visit a brothel. Wasn't this a fantasy? Chapter 895. Don't worry. Didn't you see that the practitioners in the main cities are still alive and well? Don't they still enter the ghost tower every night to seek pleasure? If that's the case, what's the harm in dying once? Wang Kai waved his hand and said with an indifferent smile, let's not talk about what he meant by dying once. Even if he really died, Wang Kai would not be afraid. If he died, he could just be reborn again. But I feel that the final outcome of those people will be the same as the female ghost that crawled out from the grave, walking corpses. Brother Long said with a frown. The younger tiger brother shivered and nodded his head in agreement. You're wrong. The guests in the ghost tower will not end up as ghosts. Also, I won't really kill you. I'll only let you die once and become a member of the ghost tower. The man in official robes said with a faint smile. Become a member of the ghost tower? Hearing this, Wang Kai was a little surprised. He couldn't help but touch his nose and asked in confusion. If that's the case with Ben Shao, a Dominator realm expert, why do you still refuse? The young man was silent for a moment. Hesitation flashed across his eyes. After a while, he said, You're known as the Midnight Mad Demon because you want to seek pleasure. But my ghost tower's goal is to gather experts. Since our paths are different, we naturally can't work together. Wang Kai grinned when he heard this. After all this fuss, the reason this guy refused him was because of the so-called different paths can't work together. If I can make Ben Shao happy, even if I become a member of the Ghost Tower, it doesn't matter. Why didn't you King tell me the rules of the Ghost Tower earlier? Wang Kai frowned and snorted with displeasure. It was precisely because he had been rejected by the Ghost Pavilion that he received the title of Midnight Maniac. If he could visit all the brothels in the main city, the title he would receive would be even more resounding than Midnight Maniac, right? I didn't say it before because you didn't have the value to let me explain, the young man in official robes said indifferently. Then, do you have one now? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes slightly. His face filled with curiosity. After learning that he was in the sovereign realm, not only did he provide an explanation, he also clearly expressed his intention to recruit him. There were so many experts gathered at the Ghost Pavilion, and they were all high officials and nobles from the domain main city. What the hell were they trying to do? Naturally, Dominator realm experts not only have the qualifications to join the Ghost Pavilion, they also have the qualifications to become one of the Vice Pavilion Masters. As for how much power you can have, it depends on your ranking. As for your ranking, it also depends on what level of Dominator realm you are, and how strong your combat strength is. The young man in official robes explained in an orderly manner. In the end, it still depended on strength. If he had known earlier, he would have directly displayed a bit of his powerful cultivation when he went to the Ghost Pavilion. With the existence of a system, no one would be able to pry into his realm, causing the other party to think that he was strong, but he was not that strong. Sometimes, hiding one's cultivation is not a good thing. Wang Kai could not help but shake his head and sigh. Well, Ben Shao has agreed. If you have any requests, just say them. Wang. Hearing this, the young man in official robes lightly nodded his head and smiled. When he nodded, his head almost fell off from his neck, looking quite horrifying. It's very simple. With this bracelet, during the day, it will automatically disappear, and when night falls, it will automatically appear. It will then be your proof of identity as a member of the Ghost Pavilion. As his voice fell, the young man in official robes flipped his hand and threw a black bracelet to Wang Kai. This counts as dying once. Just getting an identity? Wang Kai caught the bracelet, looked it up and down, and put it on his wrist without hesitation. That's right, it's that simple. After getting the proof of identity from the Ghost Pavilion, you must listen to all the arrangements of the Ghost Pavilion. All benefits must be fought for the Ghost Pavilion, and any right or wrong must be judged by the Ghost Pavilion. In short, your whole life. Oh no, It should be said that even if you die, you will still be a ghost of the Ghost Pavilion. The young man in official robes said with a faint smile. Fuck, I'll be deprived of my political rights for life. Do I have to go to prison? Wang Kai asked blankly. Political rights? This isn't the mortal world. There are no disputes for you to fight for power. This is the world of cultivation. It should be said that you'll be deprived of your right to cultivate for life. The young man in official robes said with a faint smile. Go F***ck yourself. When have I ever cultivated? I started off as a little warrior and reached the height of a dominator, all by relying on my mouth. Wang Kai shrugged and said with a proud smile. Regarding this, the system naturally wouldn't give any reward notifications. Wang Kai indeed broke through to the dominator realm by using his mouth to brag. Vice House leader really knows how to joke. The young man in official robes said with a smile. Vice House leader, Wang Kai's ears twitched when he heard this. He scanned the huge ghost pavilion and couldn't help but rub his nose and said with a smile, I've become a Vice House leader so quickly. Forget it. Since I'm already here, I'll take things as they come. My two subordinates don't need to wear the bracelet, right? The Longhu brothers were extremely grateful when they heard this and almost knelt in front of Wang Kai. Wang Kai dared to wear the bracelet, but they didn't. Although they weren't afraid of being deprived of their right for life, being imprisoned for life was their biggest concern. You're now the Vice House leader of the Ghost Pavilion. Regarding your subordinates, other than the Ghost Lord and the other house leaders, even I have no right to question or stop them. The young man in official robes shook his head and laughed. The Ghost Lord was the Ghost Pavilion itself. The other house leaders were the Dominator Realm guests of the Ghost Pavilion. Wang Kai's eyes narrowed slightly and sized up the Ghost Pavilion that was formed by 7 giant coffins. After seeing that he didn't have any intention to object, he said faintly, merely Dominator Realm. It's not that I'm boasting, but even if it's a peak 9th grade Dominator, I only need to give him a look and he'll be killed. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 10 million experience, 10,000 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 6th grade Dominator Realm. Vice House leader is indeed humorous and witty. Please go in and enjoy. The young man in official robes tilted his body slightly and extended a hand as a gesture. Regarding this, Wang Kai naturally didn't have any misgivings. Leading the somewhat unwilling Longhu brothers, he walked towards the entrance of the Ghost Pavilion. When he passed by the young man in official robes, Wang Kai's footsteps slightly paused, and he lightly laughed. I wonder what your status is in the Ghost Pavilion. To be able to work for the Ghost Pavilion itself, your strength shouldn't be low, right? No. This official strength is very low. I don't have any status, and I don't have any authority. I'm only a ghost lord who listens to orders, distributes bracelets, and attracts guests. The young man in official robes waved his hand and laughed. Chapter 896. Fuck, you're just a mere pimp, and you still dare to blabber here. You're so full of pretentiousness. Hurry up and scram. Wang Kai curled his lips and snorted with disdain. He immediately walked into the ghost tower with his hands behind his back. You're just a pimp. The dragon and tiger brothers also glanced at him and followed Wang Kai into the ghost tower. Towards this, the young man in official robes did not show any emotion. He only nodded and smiled in response, perfectly displaying the attitude of a subordinate. This child is not simple. Let's not tell him about our important matters for now. Let's have those vice leaders come out and test his strength before discussing further. Let's see how much weight he has. Following a soft voice, the young man in official robe's expression also became serious. He quickly cupped his hands and bowed, saying, Rest assured, Ghost Lord. Even if we don't take the initiative to test him, just the fact that he didn't let his 2 subordinates wear bracelets will cause the other vice leaders to be dissatisfied. You've done well. You know how to scheme. As expected of the Ghost Tower's leader chosen by this lord. Ghost Lord, you flatter me. At the same time, inside the ghost tower, Wang Kai, who originally thought that the ghost tower had 7 floors, realized that there were only 2 floors. The first floor was extremely spacious. Inside, there were tables and chairs, as well as a large circular stage in the center. On top of it, there were hundreds of beauties dancing. There were even beauties playing musical instruments, and so on. Looking around the tables, there were at least 2 or 3 beauties beside every guest. They were chatting and laughing, moving their hands and feet together, moving up and down nonstop. It could be said that it was extremely exciting. The ghost tower, formed by 7 giant coffins, only has 2 floors. The first floor is a place for pleasure, and the second floor is actually a place for cultivation. Wang Kai, who came to the second floor with curiosity, looked at the thousands of practitioners sitting around him and couldn't help but frown in surprise. There were strong and weak practitioners among these thousands of practitioners, but they were all below the dominator level. The strongest was only at the star god level, and the weakest was at the star monarch level. Star monarch, star emperor, star god, there were thousands of them gathered. Also, the sovereign realm vicehouse master was nowhere to be found, and their numbers were unknown. With such a huge amount of power gathered together, this building was indeed ridiculously powerful. Even the subordinates of the domain lord did not have so many capable subordinates, right? Hee, looking at your appearance, you're just a new face. You just joined the ghost tower, but instead of enjoying yourself, you've come here to cultivate. Young man, I have to remind you that you won't have the chance to enjoy yourself in the future. So, just like us, we can only stay here and listen to the laughter below, as well as the cries of the ladies. A few practitioners who were closest to the entrance where Wang Kai was at slowly opened their eyes. They looked at Wang Kai with schadenfreude as they shook their heads and laughed. I won't have the chance to enjoy myself in the future. Hearing this, Wang Kai's eyebrows twitched, and he could not help but touch his nose. He laughed with disdain. What do you know? Those beauties have already been played by Ben Shao. With Ben Shao's strength, he can handle tens of thousands of beauties in one night. That number is just child's play. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 10 million experience, bragging points of 10,000 points. Why haven't we seen you play with one? The dragon and tiger brothers looked at each other. They could see the disdain in each other's eyes. Naturally, they knew that Wang Kai was bragging again. What a funny kid. Look at the 2 behind you. They're the same as you, unable to see through their cultivation. Since you're already here, you should report your sect and cultivation. That's right. This is the rule of the ghost tower. Report one's sect. Wang Kai's eyes slightly narrowed. It seemed that this group of people still did not know that he had already become the vice head of the ghost tower, and even more so that they did not know that the dragon and tiger brothers were only his followers. Celestial Source Realm, Wang Kai from Bang. Before Wang Kai could finish speaking, those practitioners all opened their eyes wide and stood up with a whoosh. At the same time, all the practitioners on the second floor opened their eyes and looked at Wang Kai as if they had seen a ghost. Since when could a mere celestial source realm join the ghost tower? Why are you so surprised? Ben Shao is indeed only at the celestial source realm. The reason why he can join the ghost tower is naturally because this ghost tower was created for Ben Shao. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled with an indifferent expression. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 10 million experience, bragging points of 10,000 points. You whoosh. In an instant, everyone was shocked. Everyone was stunned on the spot, speechless, and their minds were blank. No matter how they thought about it, they could not understand. It was one thing for a mere celestial source realm to be able to join the ghost tower, but he actually dared to speak ill of the ghost tower. Furthermore, after he had spoken for so long, the ghost tower did not punish him in any way. What was going on? Did the ghost tower change? Don't listen to his nonsense. To be able to join the ghost tower, his realm is definitely not below a celestial monarch. His words just now must be to toy with us. That's right. The ghost lord did not punish him. I'm afraid that he is also testing our loyalty. Quickly kill this rude person who does not respect the Ghost Lord. Kill him. In an instant, the pressure on the second floor swept out. Celestial source, strength gathered, and waves of killing intent spread out. It was extremely terrifying. F*CKU. A bunch of idiots. Just because Ben Shao said Celestial Source Realm, it is Celestial Source Realm? You still think that this is a test from a Ghost Lord? If it really is a test, then it is the Ghost Lord who wants Ben Shao to kill you. Buzz. As soon as Wang Kai's voice fell, an even more terrifying star source power swept out in an instant, directly crushing the power of all the cultivators on the second floor until there was nothing left. In an instant, all the practitioners were pressed to the ground. Other than the Celestial God Realm practitioners who could barely support themselves, the Celestial Monarchs and Celestial Monarchs all vomited blood on the spot. They were seriously injured. Heavens! This is a Dominator. He is actually a Dominator. No wonder the Ghost Lord did not punish him. A Dominator is at the level of a Deputy House Master. Please spare our lives, Deputy House Master. In an instant, all the practitioners were begging. That kind of miserable state was simply unbearable to look at. No one wants to kill you. No one wants your lives. This young master came here just to tease you. I also wanted to see how many Vice House Lords there are in the Ghost Tower. Since I didn't meet them, then there's nothing to play with. Goodbye. This young master is going to find some beauties to have some fun with. Wang Kai shrugged, and with a rather leisurely expression, he turned around and went down to the second floor. Who asked you to act cool? A bunch of idiots. Next time, make the cover brighter. The dragon and tiger brothers spat and proudly followed Wang Kai. In a situation where he did not have any cultivation, it was really satisfying to be able to reprimand celestial monarchs, and even celestial gods. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.